Is it an issue of failure in protocol? Is it an issue of defiance of protocol? What is it that, led to the Deputy President not leaving on a private trip to Uganda and back? Matter made its way into Parliament already also. It was discussed yesterday in passing. So we have all these conversations to have. Schools, Form 1s still reporting to school. Very many interesting and sad stories at the same time on what's happening as children report to school, what's happening around the country, in the counties, in terms of COVID-19 and the numbers that are rising, and those that are seeking hospitalization and not being able to get a space, hospital bed, in various facilities around the country. So what are the latest numbers?
Yeah, so it is a thing, right? And we're seeing that a lot of the infected cases are actually those of the Delta variant. And it doesn't look good because, as we know, we have a much speedier onset of the symptoms and unfortunately resulting in death. By the time a lot of people are getting to hospital, the need for oxygen is very high and rather great. But unfortunately, the supply is not meeting the demand. And unfortunately, this is resulting in death across board. So in terms of the numbers that were realized yesterday, 1,085 new cases on the 3rd of August out of a sample size of 7,067. The positivity rate for that particular sample then putting it at about 15.4%. And that takes Kenya's overall positivity to just under 12%. And we know that we're trying to get under 5 for it to be at least acceptable. But things don't look really good. We also saw a reporting of 25 additional deaths over the last few weeks. This puts Kenya's fatalities now at 3,995. Total recoveries in the country, however, at 190,000. And total confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country are 205,356. That means we have about 15,000 active cases of COVID, most of them on home-based care, however, quite a number of them in hospital. The worrying thing now is that a lot of the people who are presenting to hospital with symptoms are in need of oxygen. We're not talking about any other treatment apart from oxygen, and the oxygen is not available. Even in the hospitals where you would expect that you would be able to get it, those hospitals are full. And that's the truth. The hospitals that then people go to seek medical attention, they do not have adequate supplies of oxygen, and this is a problem. So when we hear the CS saying that in the next 1 month he does expect all the major hospitals and all the referral hospitals to then have piped oxygen, I really wonder why we are giving it that time period where people need it today. People don't need this precious resource at the end of the month. We have people needing it today. We have people presenting themselves to hospital in the next few hours, in the next couple of days. And they need this, and it's not available. That's the situation. And I keep saying, even these numbers that we get on a daily basis, it doesn't give the full picture of what the cases are in the country. So as it hits harder home, the realities are basically slapping us in the face. That as more people get sick, we're not able to handle our sick. We actually are not able to handle our sick.
And that's a very, very, very unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in a year and a half down the road, Though we are still talking about, okay, let's improve our oxygen supply. Let's see how we can improve our hospital beds. That issue of a big... Remember City, and we were even talking about it, last year a number of times. Mbagathi Hospital. A new facility has been set up, a giant dome tent that is going to be a facility for COVID-19 patients. Remember? And to date, it is not in operation.
Yeah, the tent is actually there. You see it.
Yes.
But it's not a huge dome tent. It's medium-sized, huh? But it is... the
tent is there. It exists. It does not have beds. There's nobody who's been admitted there.
If you follow that case closely, what you...
Songs frequently mentioned on the web include dope.
Yes.
These people who talk to you and you haven't given them permission to talk to you, strange people. What you will find surprising is that in the books, everything that was said or was determined for that particular addition to the hospital, you'll find in the books it is so. Yet the reality is nowhere close to the truth. But what you will also find is that the people who are involved in bringing it into being, you'll find they have been paid. Yeah, but those things are not free.
Yeah, they've done their part.
They've done their bit. And then the people who supplied beds, because there are beds in there, of course they've been paid. Now, why is the thing not operational?
I don't know. And yet we have a
And
problem and there's a need.
And it's in a health facility. So we're not talking about, we need to be transferring people
Some
from
random satellite operation. No, it's within a health facility. So you wonder, why are we not able to do this? And it's clear to me, and I keep saying it's nothing beyond that. If you're not able to take care of the most vulnerable in society, the measure at how well you're doing is how well you are able to take care of the most vulnerable in society. I'm talking about the sick, I'm talking about the elderly, I'm talking about the disabled, I'm talking about children. How you are able to care for those at that level is how well you are doing. And by all indications, not doing very well.
The need to accumulate wealth by whatever means supersedes anything that we can discuss here.
Yeah.
The new morality dictates that someone must use the position that they have, especially in government, to siphon, steal, do whatever you can to ensure that you plunder these coffers of the state as much as you possibly can. That seems to be the new morality. And what is really harrowing, sad, and terrifying is that we've accepted it. It's become a norm. It's something that people don't really frown at it. The place where you would expect to hear the loudest noises being made about it, the pulpits, religious forums, hardly a squeak. Hardly.
Aye.
And yet it's eroding the very fabric of this nation. One could argue it's getting into the very soul of the nation. Again, as we see and as we watch, and it's happening.
Yeah, and we're just there, and it's...
Yeah.
You ask yourself, so what is it? What needs to happen? Who shall rescue my people?
Need a Moses.
Who shall keep the keeper? Oh, in this case, who shall hold the keeper accountable?
Okay, let's take a break. 16 minutes after 6, a very good morning to you, wherever you're tuned in. So, yes, are you in the country? Are you outside the country? Wherever you are around the world, say hello, and we'd like to say hello back at you. Let's take a break first. Let's take a look at the weather, and then we'll be looking at the newspaper headlines shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
As the Kenyans are roared into the home straight here. 4 Kenyan queens have lit up this balmy Bahamian night.
It's where the rivalry is unmatched, where the soul meets the track, where the great are distinguished from the good. An arena where the records are broken.
A new world record. It's not just been beaten, it's been obliterated.
A stage where the legends are born. For Team Kenya, the Olympics is more than just a sport. It is our tradition. It's an event that has put Kenya on the roadmap. The Standard Group lets you watch every minute and every action live in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Because we live for Team Kenya. We live for the game. At Standard Group, sports lives here.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise.
You're listening to Spice
Clear skies at
FM.
12 degrees in Nairobi, highs of 21 today. It's cloudy in Nyeri at 12, highs of 20. 24 will be the high in Nakuru. It's also clear at 13. We're looking at clear skies right across into Eldoret as well. 10 degrees this morning, highs of 23. 28 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Kisumu at 18 currently. It's 17 and mostly cloudy in Kakamega, highs of 28 and lows of 15 today. 21 will be the low in Mombasa. It's mostly clear currently at 22. It'll go to highs of 28. 28 will be the high in Malindi, where it's mostly clear as well at 22. Mostly clear conditions in Kampala at 19, highs of 27 and lows of 18. We're looking at mostly cloudy conditions in Dar es Salaam this morning at 21, highs of 29 and lows of 20. It's 8 degrees and clear in Johannesburg. We'll see lows of 7 and highs of 20. 29 will be the high in Lagos. That's mostly clear at 25. Clear conditions at 20 in Kinshasa. Highs of 32 and lows of 20. We're looking at a mostly sunny Beijing afternoon at 30. Highs of 32 and lows of 23. Clear skies and temperatures dipping in Paris at 13 this morning. Highs of 21 and 13 and clear in London as well. Highs of 23 and 23 in New York Tuesday night. Highs of 25 and lows of 19 going into the day.
Spice FM. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice
It's 19
FM.
after 6. Yes. Can you see who's online?
I can.
Who's it?
Okay, so Charity Mine is tuned in this morning and says, good morning, tuned in from Milimani in Nakuru. Latif, according to Kennedy Ogodo, he says, good morning, first of all. Talk about the numerous homicides available in Kenya whereby people are killed anyhow. He's asking for us to talk about this.
Okay.
It's important as far as he's concerned.
We're just
Then-
being killed left, right, and center. Just like that.
Yeah, quite a number of people.
Yeah.
Unexplained is an issue today. Benson Momo says, good morning. Patrick Achoki says, good morning, watching from Nairobi. Shafi Yare says, the rich get richer in Africa, and especially Kenya, and the poor get poorer. And that defines and differentiates the lifestyle of people where their own governments are not creating job opportunities and they are elected, while they do represent people that stood out for them. Robert Mbogo says, good morning this morning from Mombasa. And Chelisha Evans is tuning from Kitwe, in the copper belt of Zambia.
Okay.
Controversious is his name, and he says, good morning from Kondele in Kisumu. Baraka Simu Dori is tuned in from Bungoma, and Bade Ashley tuned in from Masha. Kazali Tal is tuned in this morning from Ethiopia, and Masia Kapola tuned in from South Africa. David Kiari tuned in from Subukia this morning, and Vincent Omondi is tuned in from Kisumu. Phil F.A. Collins tuned in from Embakasi, and Rogers Lai is locked. County 001.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation from wherever you are. CT Muga has today's big proverb.
You cannot tell a hungry food yesterday.
Yeah. But you ate yesterday.
So can you stop being hungry today?
Come on. You cannot tell a hungry child that you gave them food yesterday.
No.
Where is this one from?
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. Okay. So let's take a look at the newspaper headlines. If you have a Telcom line, we'd like you to access the Standard e-paper. Just dial star 550 star 1 hash. You get the Standard e-paper for 20 shillings daily. And if you'd like the Nairobian for 20 bob daily, star 550 star 2 hash. If you'd like the daily pullouts from the papers, star 550 star 3 hash. This is for 5 shillings daily. All these money is deducted from your airtime on a daily basis. Only 20 bob. The physical paper is 60. So let's look at the headlines. I want to start not with the issue of going to Uganda, but on the issue of going to Maranda. There was a picture that was doing the photos that were just going around social media yesterday. A helicopter registration 5YPKZ had taken some luminaries to Maranda High School. The luminaries included ODM leader Raila Odinga and his brother Dr. Oburu Odinga and a few others. And then people were taking photos, of course, with a helicopter. Many of them, the students of the school. So the news was going around that there's some people who are reporting to school on choppers. Raila's communications director, Dennis Onyango, said, no. In fact, Raila went to Maranda yesterday, but he did not drop a student at Maranda on Monday. There were other reports that, Raila and Oburu had escorted some family member to Maranda High School. Mm-hmm. That is not really a big issue. The story, and this appeared again in the papers yesterday, was about a boy called George Masinde. George Masinde is from Likuyani in Kakamega County. The boy scored very good marks in KCPE because he got 370 out of 500. Is that good or bad?
Excellent.
Excellent, right? Mm. Boy was admitted to a national school called St. Joseph Boys High School in Kitale. Likuyani, Kakamega, Kitale, Trans Nzoia. Okay? Time for reporting to school has come. Does boy have money? No. Does boy have school fees? No. Does boy have anything that is required to report to school? Only admission letter. Okay? Boy's friends know where boy is from. He's from this family that the mother is just a trader in the local market. The father does some odd jobs. He's a carpenter. They have no money to take the boy to school. Boy's friends told him, my friend, you've secured a spot in the national school. If you don't report on the first day, maskini kama sisi, our positions, go. They're sold to the next rich kid who takes that position, and you'll end up going to this local school here. Okay? This is the reality of our world. George Masinde decided, no way. I have got to take this bull by the horns. Does he have bus fare to go to school? No. So he decided he's not going to talk to his parents. He got up early in the morning at 3 a.m., walked 50 kilometers to St. Joseph's School, met the headmaster, and said, you know what? I have been admitted to this school. I cannot afford even a shilling, but I do not want to lose my spot in this school. Please admit me. What was he wearing? Not the St. Joseph School uniform. He's wearing the school uniform from Likuyani. He has walked 50 kilometers. And the headmaster is like, I was told by my secretary that there's a boy here at 6 a.m. And I said, let him in. And he came and gave me his story. And I said, oh my goodness. Godfrey Owor, the principal, admitted him on the spot and said, you have been admitted to the school. We will see how to sort you out. So the boy is a student. Mother wakes up in the morning and wonders, na hii kijana amelala sana ya vijana siku hizi. Where is he? He's told that boy woke up at 3. He went to school. Mother followed him. Gets there. Kijana alikuja hapa. Yes. Principal said we've admitted him. That is a story of a fighter. That despite all the odds, this boy from Likuyani scored 370 out of a possible 500. This boy could not afford to go to school. This boy has taken himself to school. He is now waiting for well-wishers to support him. My issue, Kakamega County. My issue, MP. There's a CDF bursary. There's a county bursary. This is 370 marks. This is somebody who clearly could not afford to take himself to Form 1.
And needs it.
Is it that he was not caught up in this radar?
Or are they telling us that the people who benefited from the facility of the bursary all had 400 points and above? Is that what they're telling us?
Or they were poorer than this one?
So
that
now
this one could not even be given 10,000 shillings, and the bursary committee says, we are writing to the school and saying, we know this case, we are sponsoring him, please admit him as we see how else we can support. Are you saying that this is not possible?
No. The process through which these bursaries are being divvied up really, really needs to be interrogated, number one, and I think it needs to be clearly streamlined, because the number of stories that we've seen in the last just 1 week, having known that this was an issue previously, but the number of issues that we have seen in the last 1 week where somebody jumps out of the woodwork and then decides to help, an MP decides to help from the bursary, that means it can be done.
Yeah.
The process can be sorted out so that kids, because that's why it was set up in the first place. It is for learners who come from families that are not able to help at that time, or who would be going through a difficult position. That is why it was set up.
You know, financial difficulty is not something that just emerges for many of these kids.
It's been their way of
By the time they are registering for KCPE, it's clear to the community, it's clear to the headmaster of the
That there's a
primary
problem
school
here.
that this one will not be able to afford secondary school. It's clear. It's clear to the local CDF committee, if indeed it comprises of locals, that this is a person who may not be able to afford secondary school. So you cannot even say that, you know, he fell through the cracks, was under the radar, had never been mapped. Come on. You know, you read some of these stories and you just get emotional. Like, I'm getting emotional.
Bad.
Do you know, it is clear he was learning at a local school.
Yes.
And usually, the head teacher, by the time a child gets to standard 8, they didn't come to the school at standard 8. Okay? Believe me, you know the circumstances, you know the parents. And you also know the difficulties. You may even find that the head teacher in his primary school understood the circumstances and ensured that this child continued, because it was
and
clear
suffered.
this child was able to. Now, there are very many examples that we can give about the decadent soul that Kenya has acquired. We're talking about hospitals, and we're talking about what was supposed to have been done and what has been done. This issue of Form 1 student is going to highlight it even more. And you throw in the confusion of, you arrive at a school, and the school tells you, actually, by the way, you are not supposed to be here. This child is supposed to be. And the supposed to be is in another county, really far away from where you are at.
Yep.
You know, that is a far lesser problem than what you're discussing. The child at least has a place. It may be far, but the discussion is a totally different one.
Yeah.
But a child who comes from a county and a constituency where bursaries are available. Okay.
It's one of those, man, and I can bet that he was among the top scorers, not just in his school, but in that constituency.
area.
Yes, 370 marks is surely jokers. Let's take a break. What numbers matter to you? For George Masinde, the number 370 matters, and the number 45,000 or 35,000, that's a school fees that he needs to pay to a national school, matters. And the number 1, Form 1, matters. Very many other numbers matter to this young boy who wants to grow up and become a pilot. What numbers matter to you? And how do you view them? NCBA, the bank, just does not look at numbers in terms of figures. It looks at numbers in terms of what they mean to you. And they'd like you to basically know that they are there to support you in growing and converting those numbers into their meaning. Whether you're seeking for business support, whether you're seeking for asset finance, whatever you're seeking, NCBA Bank, go for it.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
The youth are the future of our country, and last Saturday on 00 Direct, we highlighted the challenges faced by young leaders in Kenya today and their contribution to democratic leadership and governance. Here are some key points.
My name is Rose Omamu. I'm the General Secretary of Amalgamated Union of Kenya Metal Workers. The advice that I would give myself when I am young and I'm starting is that I must be somebody who, one, has respect for the elderly, two, is willing and ready to be mentored, because if you are not ready to be mentored, whoever is mentoring you is doing it in vain, because you'll not follow the steps of the mentor. So they must be willing to be mentored as a young person. And if I'm speaking about my young self, then I would be willing to participate in trade union activities, willing to respect my elders, willing to work with them, willing to walk with them And above all, patience pays. So I would be very patient in all I do. But at the same time, I must have to decide for what I want to do or for my destiny, because decisions decide destinations.
Young leaders, the challenges they face, the opportunities available, and why we need more of them in Kenya today. It's a special 00 Direct Young Leaders series with me, Olivia Otieno, only on SpiceFM.
Yeah, so we're looking at that pile up on Mombasa Road at the Mara Daima headed inbound, and it's going to continue for some time. We're also looking at traffic right around Cabanas, going up there, Changombe, heading out towards North Airport Road also. That is slowing down considerably. We're also seeing some traffic on Thika Road today, right around Survey. And then at the Pangani underpass there, we're going to see some of those issues. But it still doesn't look too terrible around the city. It looks like it's just building up. We're not in traffic hour yet. Folks who have left should not be having too difficult a time on the roads right now. We'll take a look at what it looks like in a short while. But for now, it looks like everything is moving along just smoothly. You might want to use the bypasses. You'll get around in a longer period of time, but you won't be stuck in traffic, at least not for now. Let's take a look in about half an hour what it looks like. Help us out here, guys. You find yourself in a sticky situation, let us know. Find a good route, let us know that as well. SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
Spice FM. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
What else is in the papers?
You know, we're talking about schools, huh?
Yeah.
There's a story in the Star on page 21. There's a mother, a young lady who was at Kahawa Garrison Primary School, scored 381 points. Got a letter to go to Mugoiri Girls High School in Murang'a. Mother takes daughter to Murang'a. The queue. By the time it gets to evening, they inform that yes, you have that letter, but actually, according to this list, your child should be at Mombasa Secondary School in Siaya County.
What?
Wait. So, they have a letter.
Yeah, but that's how you go there, isn't it?
Came from the school.
Yes, letter.
Mugoiri Girls.
Yes.
And then they go through the entire process. They're told now, Nemis is showing
Rachel.
something.
Okay, Rachel Amagola. Okay. Thank you very much. You've done very well.
Amagola, you should be in Siaya.
Yes, but this, according to...
So Nemis has a different record.
Now, what arises from this story now is now this one, I think, falls into the annals of conspiracy. Swap. So the mother breaks down into wailing, according to this report.
Right.
And says now it's dark.
Surely.
Siaya is the other end of the country. Okay?
Mugoiri is...
In Murang'a.
It's a good school, a very, very good school.
Nonsense is this? What
Murang'a County,
what
Siaya
absolute
County.
Nonsense is
380 what?
81.
National School.
Yes. 381.
Okay, that's why they're saying that some children have been admitted to institutions different from what is on their letter. It's actually a whole other story that's carried in the Standard today. That according to this story, you have been admitted to an institution and then the name of the institution has changed. No, not really. Has not changed. How do we make such mistakes? Why is that? Do you know this period is actually traumatic for lots of parents who are transitioning from one level to the next? It is traumatic.
Let me give you
all the things that you must do.
Let me give you
are
more
traveling
details.
across the country. You travel to that place that
The
is
travel
across, and then they come and tell you.
is the simple bit.
They come and tell you that it's
In
the
this
wrong
case,
school.
you have bought uniforms.
You imagine
Every requirement that was listed
for a
you have-
particular school.
Yeah, because they sent you the letter with the requirements. You have bought. So what do you do with all these things you have bought?
That's absolute nonsense.
You have uniform, you have
Everything.
blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
For this school.
Yes, for this school.
It's absolute nonsense. What kind of explanation could you possibly give?
Look,
Because I'm going to
so
hold
first
both
of all,
responsible.
how does the selection happen? This time, unlike in the past where headmasters would sit down in a room and say, okay, you national headmasters, this week is yours, pick your students, and then extra county, blah. This time, automatic.
System.
Nemis.
System. Nemis. You sat KCPE, here are your... What are your selection? First choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice, blah, blah, blah. Algorithm takes you, puts you in this school. School receives its list of students to admit, writes letters to the students. At what point does algorithm and letter
Not coincide.
not coincide?
I don't understand.
I was wondering. I mean,
And I do everything that I'm supposed to based on
You know-
the letter that I am not privy to the system.
And it isn't a solitary case.
That's the
Yes.
thing.
The principal of the school, Susan Mudhoni, pledged to assist. The county education director and Kilu also weighed in and said, no. We're getting the bottom
They
of this
should
one.
They
Yes.
should admit her in Mugoiri.
Yes.
They should. That's rubbish. Wait, the person who doesn't have money, what are they supposed to do? Then they've done everything. They've taken their last cent. They've now transported the child to school. Then you come and tell me absolute rubbish.
You know the thing that
I'm annoyed.
perhaps is unknown to some of our rulers and leaders. By the time a parent is taking that child to school, they have nothing else remaining.
They're ready to come back home on zero.
No. They're coming back
On
home
zero.
on zero. And they're now going to figure out these children who are here, how are they going to eat? They'll figure that one out. But at least they know for the next 3 months,
that one is in school.
that one is
taken
in
care of.
school. Now we can worry about this.
Oh, man, this one's strong. Oh.
I think there are very many of these cases. So you go to school, you're told the fees that we have sent you is not the one. We go to school, you're told this is not the school you should be in. You go to school, you find that your slot, like George was worried, your slot has been taken by somebody else. All these things, and yet the reason why we were actually digitizing the whole system is to avoid such. You can say that these are just, teething problems, but there's no way a molar can become an incisor. There's no way one tooth can become another.
And also the 17 billion that the ministry has taken to has issued to schools as capitation represents only 50% of what they should actually be getting.
So money has been sent to the schools.
17.5
Yes,
billion.
they've received, and Magoa has said, I don't want... Now, this is interesting. Because it seems it's white today is black, today is white tomorrow. When schools opened initially, Magoha was clear and said, look, don't send children away because of school fees. It's been a very difficult 1 year. Let's see what we can do. Towards the end of the term, he now said, you know what? People are taking advantage. Anybody who has not paid school fees, you cannot come. Now Magoha is saying he doesn't want to hear, especially because this money has been released, he doesn't want to hear that students are being turned away because of fee balances. And he has warned head teachers, you people should not do this thing.
Believe
Don't
me,
send them home.
Children will be sent home. I don't know why he keeps saying this. What is he going to do? Huh? What is he going to do?
I don't understand.
There is the assumption that these head teachers enjoy sending children home. There's also the suggestion that it is punishment. Many a time it is because they have tried to get hold of the parent and, look, we have your details here. Just please come to the school and tell us a plan that you can suggest to us so that we can work with it. Time goes, some call and say, I'll be on this day, I'll be on this. At the end they say, no, what you do, sir, we're sorry, but just go home.
Just go.
And come back with your parent. It's the only message that they can get. Yes.
Because they need the money.
Yes. I mean,
You're managing a facility, you need
you do
the
need
money
that
to
money.
operate.
You do need that money.
Education is a whole bag of potatoes. But then there's a bigger one. More than 2,000 potato farmers in the North Rift region have called for suspension of the new potato regulations following a drop in prices. What are those regulations? Those regulations, and we even discussed them here on air one time. Bag has a specific size. You do not put at it double the bags and say that is one bag. Specific size of the bag. The farmers say that they are stuck after traders boycotted their produce over the Irish Potato Regulations 2019, which took effect this season. In this region, potatoes are mainly grown in Uasin Gishu, Elgeyo Marakwet, West Pokot, and parts of Baringo and Trans Nzoia counties. Prices have plummeted to an all-time low of 500 bob for a 50-kilogram bag of potatoes. The new law stipulates that potatoes be packed in approved materials that allow for airflow and don't exceed 50 kilograms. Those handling the produce, that's processors, marketing agents, dealers, collection centers, and warehouse stores, must register with the county government from which they operate. The law states that unregistered growers, improper packing, storage, and grading will attract a fine of 500,000. A farmer called Ezekiel Yego from Kaptagat in Elgeyo Marakwet says the regulations should be shelved so that tuko na viazi, wacha tuuze viazi alafu mkuja na hiyo sheria yenu. This is a case where, by the way, I'm looking at farmers such as Mr. Yego, and I'm feeling, and another one here called Benjamin Kipserem, who's also been quoted, he's saying most farmers are staring at huge losses because they grow the highly perishable Shangi variety. So every single day that the potato is there and it's not being bought, it's going closer to waste. Now, regulations have come in. They were meant to benefit the farmer, to make sure that the farmer does not put two bags of potatoes and sell them as one. You shall sell one bag of potato, 50 kilograms, and the people who are coming to buy, there's regulations on how they handle themselves. I have a feeling of cartel mentality by those who are trading.
Oh, for sure. I don't think it exists void of it.
Okay, well, why shall we squeeze them a bit? The farmers will make noise. The farmers will give us the potatoes anyway. The farmers then at that point will be desperate. The farmers they'll sell. And the issue of enforcement and all goes out the window. The person who does not benefit is Mr. Yego and his fellow farmers.
There you go. Getting the short end of the stick over and over again. Yeah. It is quite unfortunate. And unfortunately, another unfortunate story. But there has been a report that has been done, and it has found that fathers are the main culprits of incest, according to this data. Fathers make the highest number of perpetrators of incest, often committing the heinous crime at home, a place supposed to be the safest for a girl. 59% of the 160 incest cases reported in the country in the past 3 years were committed by fathers, mostly at home. Shows data from the nationwide hotline 1195 for the period January 2018 to June 2021. Some attackers violated the girls at home, others in the bush. Others did so in a public place, and in some cases, the girls would not name the place where they were violated. Uncles are the second leading incest offenders, committing 36 of the cases, followed by stepfathers, 20, cousins, 16, and grandfathers, 14. Brothers committed 7 incest cases and brothers-in-law 5. There was one case of a stepbrother committed incest against a girl, and these perpetrators committed up to 75% of the incest at home. UN Women has raised concern that homes have become the most dangerous place for girls. Remember when COVID started, and then it started to get worse, and then schools were closed. The outcry we heard was that please do not close schools, because if anything, this was a safe haven for a lot of people, and they were able to then escape the drama that was going on at home. According to UN Women, numbers don't lie. Homes are no longer safe places for women and young girls, and it posted in response to the incest data. The most troubling, though, is the trick of destroying evidence that these criminals used to escape prosecution. 3 months ago, a father was caught red-handed in Embu West Sub-County. He had swallowed a condom that he had used, eradicating the evidence that could have gotten the girl some justice. And it is most frustrating when fear and stigma stand in the way of girls getting justice. We talked about this a couple of days ago also when we saw that, this happens and then somebody has a conversation with the family before it gets to the chief or before it gets to the police. But these things are happening, and right at home, that should provide a safe haven for a lot of these minors.
Unfortunate. 13 minutes to 7. Let's take a quick break and then we come back and look at more stories in the papers. Good morning.
You know, when you see someone being jailed, a governor or two or someone who stole, then people will fear. Because our problem is not the borrowing, it's the stealing.
We've become actually a nation of thieves. The only thing we lack is an opportunity to steal.
The guys who quote the Bible and say, I'm a Christian and all that, and you know they're thieves. Return what you have stolen 4 times. If you know that you have property or anything that you have stolen, just return it and say, my God does not allow me to hold stolen things.
We are also a reflection of you, because you elect us. You know, we don't get into our office by ourselves. We are a reflection of the people who elect us.
We don't want to go to the streets. We have a constitution that enables us, assert our will.
When the legislature are now being taken as hostage by the executive for whatever reason, we are now bound by what they want us to do.
This is just outside the realms of reality. We have impunity written into the DNA of our political class.
How old were you when you learned that Jeshi la Wokovu is Jeshi la Wokovu?
I can't say it very well. Ni mtu wa Jeshi la Wokovu.
And everyone knows. Okay.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM,
All right.
Nairobi.
What's in the Business Daily, or what are you looking at?
Now, I'm looking at an article that appeared on page 27, the counties in the Standard. Tourists risk lives in Masai Mara wild. There is a clip that has gone viral about a leopard cub playing with the foot of a tourist. This is what the article begins by stating, that some tourists visiting the Masai Mara Game Reserve flout laws on how one should behave in the protected zone. This is the first time in a very long while that I'm hearing of such a thing being reported. I have actually witnessed in the Aberdares people who have gone to the national park in their own vehicle approaching a herd of elephants. I have seen. And the vehicle I was in happened to have professional tour guides. And they hooted, they sped, and they stopped the person. Now, these people were driving and waving at the elephant. Yes. And they had this teeny weeny car that is the size of a matchbox. And I was thinking, what on earth do these people think they are doing? Because I'd had a conversation with these fellows about, they told me, the thing about elephants, like with all other animals in the wild, the moment you see cubs, you see the young, you really want to be as far away from those animals as possible, because instinctively they will want to protect the children. He said, and when an elephant's ears start flapping and they become like a satellite dish, yes, and then it turns and faces you, said, you have a problem. I saw some antiques that day, and they explained to me what could have happened. And I thought to myself, why were they allowed to drive into the park in their vehicle? Now, somebody looks at a leopard cub and thinks it's a big cat. It's not a big cat in the sense of a domesticated cat. It's not a feline domesticus. This is a wild animal and a really dangerous one. Point. What do you think happened? Because the guides know this. I am thinking, what do you think happened? Somebody says, is it possible for me to?
Yeah. Just pushing.
Yes. And secondly, remember, even as you get in that vehicle, you're told. The tourists are told, they're informed.
Yeah.
You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. We're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do this. Now, I am aware that tourism is a major attraction that this country offers. But this points yet again to this moral decadence that we're talking about. What would have happened if this particular cub decided to attack the tourist?
Imagine.
Because it
The
could.
news would have been, lax regulations,
Unsafe practices
park.
it would have done the
Appears
tourists.
the game ward. There's corruption that could also have, influenced the game wardens to allow this to happen. That is the kind of negative publicity you'd have received. You've also heard the same about Naivasha
Yes.
and the hippos.
Yes.
People doing the boat rides, and then the guide is telling them, so that's a hippo, and they're like, let's go closer. Let's go. I mean, let's just go closer. I want to take a closer photo. Very many of these cases, you go to the hotels around Lake Naivasha and you're told, very many of these cases happen. And where the guides are trying to tell the people, no, we cannot go closer. Some even try to bribe the people on the boat. Let's get closer. And there have been people who have actually been mauled by the hippos just because of that.
The warning is not a joke. The warning that's given is not a joke. They know why they're asking you not to do this.
A story was being told to me by a colleague of mine of somebody they worked with for a long time from one of the universities in the US. I'm deliberately not mentioning the university. And they like to tour the Zambezi River. It's something they enjoyed doing. And the Zambezi River has crocodiles. And they had been cautioned and said, look, if you are going to traverse this river, you need to be in a certain type of vessel. But they kept insisting. And they had gone on several occasions. Now, on this one occasion, the most bizarre thing happened. That boat was not overturned, but one of the crocodiles came out of the water, hit this particular gentleman, a professor. One person, there were around 4 people in that boat. This one person was hit in the water. Nobody else was touched. And the person died and disappeared.
Hit him off the boat.
Hit him off the boat, snapped him, went off.
Took him down to the water and left him there for a couple of days.
Traumatizing.
You see, these animals think.
They do. We often don't.
Yes, and they also have recognition. You think that just because you can recognize a crocodile, it can't recognize you. It can. It was an unfortunate situation and a really sad tale when I was told the story. But wild animals are not called wild for no reason. They are called wild because they operate by very different rules. If pet animals that people keep sometimes do a funny on you. Now, what about an animal that lives by completely different rules in the wild? Now, the unfortunate thing is that if you look at what we are doing in this country, we are becoming like animals in the wild.
We're becoming wild animals.
Yes.
Unpredictable.
Yes.
Short fuses.
Strange.
It is. Speaking of another kind of animal, it would appear that the National Assembly's Committee on Agriculture has confirmed that they will soon, Kenya will soon ban fish imports from China.
Okay.
According to the lawmakers, Kenya has enough fish stocks in the country, in its own lakes, rivers, and the ocean to meet the demand. The ban, according to the chairperson, Silas Tiren Moiben, will also help to improve the country's fisheries sector. I don't see why we should import from China. Yeah, we have enough fish in the country. There's a lot of potential in our waters. We must realize it. It is clear that foreigners are fishing in our waters and selling to us, which shows we have enough fish and potential. The MPs and fishery officials were late last month on a fact-finding mission regarding the plight of fishermen in the coast region. They said that they wanted to help the country harness the sector's potential and create job and business opportunities for Kenyans. So this business of fish from China, we don't want it anymore, and soon a ban will be imposed on the same. According to committee chair member, Tigania West MP John Mutunga, we must fish in our waters and use the catch for home consumption and export. Aidan Haji Mandera South said, we have to protect our resource and fishermen. They must get the maximum benefit out of the natural resources we have. They have assured fishermen that they will protect them from exploitation.
Can these people kindly just keep quiet? For heaven's sake.
But they've assured them and promised.
Let me explain to you why I'm saying they should keep quiet. Many of these fishing vessels that we see within our boundaries are licensed. And who do you think licenses them?
Government.
Yes. If these MPs want the fishermen to benefit, this blue economy we keep talking about, telling us they'll protect them is nonsense. It is hogwash.
Gobble.
Gook.
But those are two different things.
Polycock. Look.
Licensing a fishing vessel to fish within Kenyan waters and sell the fish in the country is one.
No, Eric.
Or
Eric.
allowing fish to come from outer seas.
No, Eric. It's the same thing. The same mechanism that allows people to get licensed to fish in our waters, and yet we do not develop the capacity of our own fishermen who exist to do the same thing.
It's the same mindset.
And it's the same mindset. It's the same mindset that allows fish. We're being told it comes from China. How do you know it comes from China? It's fish.
This is what
you think the fish knows it's in China.
This is what this gentleman is actually saying, John Mutunga. He said, we have these fish in our waters. Of what surety are we that the fish that is supposedly being imported from China is actually from China?
Yes.
So where would it be coming from? Where would tilapia be coming from? Tilapia is a freshwater fish.
It is a freshwater fish.
But it can also be ponded.
It can be ponded.
So where are those ponds?
No. It's not just tilapia. Tilapia is the fish we talk about mostly.
Yes.
And it's the fish that people talk about as being imported into the country. I am not even going to go into the species of fish. I'm talking about the industry. What to do with the industry is not difficult. The blue economy story, fishermen know how to fish. All they require is an upgrade.
Yes.
Vessels.
They need the resource. They need the protection.
That's it.
Proper trawlers.
They do.
Trawlers and then holding facilities where the fish can... Everything, that value chain that is required is not a secret. It is known. So when people want to talk about how they're going to protect fishermen, keep quiet. Keep quiet. You just don't talk about it.
Sit down.
Yes, don't talk about it.
Coming up to the top of the hour, keep it right here for more conversations, and we're glad that you're also participating in the conversations on social media. SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. For example, as you were talking about that story of the Masai Mara, Alex Rumokol has even posted that video. This is that video. This one is getting us clearly from Karen in Nairobi. Asante sana, Alex.
That is a massive level.
Massive volume. Good morning. It's now 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Players in the hospitality sector found guilty of not observing COVID-19 protocols will have their licenses cancelled for up to 1 year. Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala says players must strictly adhere to the safety protocols as the country continues to fight the COVID-19 pandemic.
Particularly with pubs and restaurants who break the law. We will shame them so that people do not destroy the sector because of a few greedy people. And we will take action on those individuals. PERAC is here, they have committed to us, and they said whoever of their members or non-members in that sector break the law, we will name them and will take action. And I said very clear that even their licenses will be cancelled for 1 year.
This as the country recorded 1,085 new COVID-19 cases from a sample size of 7,067 tested in the last 24 hours, marking a positivity rate of 15.4%. The Kenya Private Sector Alliance is optimistic that Kenya will attain its mass vaccination program for the COVID-19 vaccine. In an interview with KTN's Brian George Otieno, KEPSA CEO Caroline Kariuki said they are working with the government to ensure that the country develops herd immunity.
And because we support government in so many initiatives, wherever we have capacities or comparative advantages. So what we're doing now with the Ministry of Health, we said, as you're looking into vaccinating and we get into herd immunity, how can we support you? And so we are mobilizing funds to support the initiative and bring more vaccines so that government can bring in more vaccines that can reach to many more people.
The government has released 17.47 billion shillings to schools as a capitation for all learners. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoa says the release of the funds will help ensure a 100% transition from primary to secondary school. The release of the funds comes at a time when parents are crying foul of being overburdened by the high cost of books and school uniform. Meanwhile, a girl in Loitoktok who scored 407 marks in a KCPE might not go to high school because her parents cannot raise her school fees. Christine Wanjika's family say they have tried to raise the funds, including applying for scholarships, but with no success.
Wala sijapata usaidizi. Saa siku zikikaribia hivi, zikikaribia, mamangu akafikiria ende achukue admission letter ya kude ndo niende nisomee huko, lakini mwalimu akamkataza, akamwambia nikiwa nimepita hivi siwezi enda kusomea huko.
Nimeng'ang'ana ile pesa kidogo nilikuwa nayo, nimenunua zile requirements zinahitajika shuleni, na hata ikifika saa hii bado sijapata school fees.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
And it is picking up as it normally would at this hour. Langata Road, we're looking at it quite full. As you then come out into Nairobi West or go in the other direction towards Bagathi Way, Langata Road is already giving up that heavy vibe this morning. Also, it's picking up on Gong Road as you get to the city mortuary roundabout. Nothing too crazy though. Industrial areas also piling up. Lunga Lunga Road is that stretch where we're going to see some traffic building up as you get towards Likoni Road and then onto Mombasa Road through the Likoni interchange. We're looking at Jogo Road also. And as you get past Hamza, heading towards Makadara, out then towards Botella and onto Landis Road. Around Kamkunji there, it's building up as you pass the bus station. Okay, apart from that, what are we seeing? That on the Thika Superhighway now, all the way from Survey, it is quite packed as you then connect at Muthui Square, headed out into the city. It's normal Wednesday morning traffic, nothing too crazy. This we have to sit through. But let's look at it and see. Hopefully it doesn't get any crazier. We can use the bypasses to get us out, to get in. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. That's how you can get in touch, or text on 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the
It's
only
5
way to
minutes
start
after
your day.
7. Good morning. Kenya's biggest conversation gets into the second hour. We are here until 10 a.m. and CT has the day's proverb.
You cannot tell a hungry child that you gave them food yesterday.
Mbano.
Mbano. So Mbano is a child or is yesterday? Or
Mbano is no.
That's an exclamation of sorts.
No now. You can't.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. You were talking about fish and fishing and the blue economy. Yesterday there was a serialization of some big feature done by The Nation, Alan Olingo in the coast and Siago Sese. So it had a headline, "It's a dog's life for Kenyan fishermen as trawlers have a field day." Kenyan fishermen are expressing fears that they will be locked out of earning their living in the Indian Ocean if the government imposes safety rules that will allow more foreign fishing vessels in the deep sea. Having been fishermen for most of their lives, they now fear for the next generation as stiff competition from trawlers and stringent rules by the Kenya Maritime Authority threaten to push them out of the sea. So those guys along the coast are staring at a bleak future because they lack advanced equipment and they do not adhere to some of the rules, according to Ngole Mbaji, who is the vice chairperson of the Mtwapa Beach Management Unit. For us, KMA and foreign fishing vessels are some of the major stumbling blocks. KMA has also introduced a series of safety regulations acting as barriers, which fishermen now claim intend to lock Kenyan fishermen from the Indian Ocean waters. Now, if you just listen to that story, first there's KMA and there's what they're saying, all right, let's standardize our fishing to global standards. Let's introduce these features. Safety, what is it that you can do, what can't you do? What kind of vessel is allowed to fish in what kind of waters? And that automatically locks out very many people who have small dhows that go fishing. The fishermen see this as an affront on their livelihoods because clearly, I don't have what you're saying. And now you're saying that that person, Bwanyenye, who has what you're saying is allowed to operate, comes and starts fishing here. And the Bwanyenye is not from amongst us. Is an outsider. What are you doing?
Why you heard me speak as I did with regards to utterances that are attributed to some members of parliament in some committee or the other was precisely because of that. These vessels and their owners don't license themselves. They are government entities that are responsible for this.
Yes.
Just like they are government entities, we have an entire ministry that deals with such matters, agriculture, fishery, and livestock. Now, you cannot tell me that there has been all these discussions about the blue economy without a blueprint as to how that economy should be grown. It exists.
Out of the blues.
This one requires concrete policy which you can see with your eyes. Okay? So
yet another thing that you must see.
You must see. Yesterday, when I was waxing not so very lyrical about the barter trade, Eric mentioned something about cooling plants. Okay? If you are going to be in the business of producing milk, you really need those cooling plants.
Yep.
It gives your milk longevity of life. By the same token, fish is a really quickly, easily perishable commodity. You need refrigeration. Okay? Not complicated. Refrigeration doesn't have to be a huge building that covers 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer square. No. It's not that. It can be a container.
Yep.
And they come in various sizes.
Yep.
And there are people who have actually ventured to do this, to provide refrigeration. And the moment you provide refrigeration, you've given the fisherman control on the prices of his product.
Yep.
In the absence of that, the so-called middleman cartel, believe me, they'll buy your fish for a song.
Yep.
So essentially what it means is the life of these people never change. They simply... It's the same thing over and over and over again. Now, when we put up this swanky new port in Lamu, alongside it should have been a facility, if you ask me, for fishing. Mombasa has one, it's called Liwatoni.
Even in Lamu, they were building one. $1 billion shillings.
Yes,
at the same speed as the Liwatoni thingy.
Yeah, but Eric, you know that $1 billion shilling things is future. They can always be an intermediate facility.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
You already landing your boats here. Why don't we land this refrigeration for you here as we put up that swanky $1 billion shilling facility?
Yeah.
Meaning, get into the habit of doing this thing so that when that swanky facility is finished, all you do is you carry the same activities onto this one here. Now, what am I saying? I am saying that it is an economic activity that has been completely and absolutely neglected by the government. Yeah. What the government has done, and the people who are supposed to protect these fishermen, is they talk about it like they usually do. Are you telling me that the fishermen that we have in this country are resistant to having their lives improved? And by there, I'm not talking about, when I talk about the coast, I'm not talking about Lamu, I'm not talking about Kilifi, Malindi. I'm going right up to the south coast and beyond. If they are fishing vessels that are clearly not Kenyan vessels being licensed and they're fishing, it means they are making money.
Yes.
Not complicated. Why aren't our people doing that?
It also means, even beyond that, that if you want to look at these foreign vessels that obviously are licensed to be fishing in these waters, that they have figured out that here there's a commodity you can get and that there's a way in which you can operate that will give you maximum profit.
Yes, that's why they're here.
That is why they're here, and this is why they keep returning. It pains me that the quote unquote owners of the waters haven't realized that you can get maximum benefit out of this resource that is literally at your front door. Other people come from yonder, come, settle, basically fish, and take the profits back home.
Yes.
And you're right here. And your fishermen, the residents, the citizens of the country who are in this trade continue to suffer. I honestly don't understand. It blows my mind completely when I look at this process, the way in which it's going, and I say, we complain year after year, and it's not just Kenya. Take your pick, specifically on the continent, the resources that are literally at your doorstep. Why are we not able to take a resource in its rare, raw form and then get the maximum benefit out of it? I think we're only starting to see now the beginnings of such. When we look at countries like Ghana, who have said, thank you very much for all of you've done for the last 50 years. It is okay. We are no longer giving you this resource. Just, it's all right. Right? Even if we are going to spoil it, let us see on our own what we'll be able to do with our cocoa. You will not be one of the best producers of chocolate in the world. Meanwhile, the raw resource is ours, and we're not doing anything with it. Here we are, surrounded by waters. Okay? Fishing is a lifeline of very many Kenyans. We continue to talk about agriculture being the bedrock of the economy, or what it should be. If it is the bedrock, if it is the messiah in terms of resources that will actually save this economy, or that has the potential to save the economy, why then are we not applying the expertise or even the basic implementation of strategy to make sure that you get the most out of it? Well, I don't understand. And it doesn't even, for me, it doesn't even need any kind of intellectual application. It's a matter of doing. Just do it, literally, just do it.
Yeah.
Why can't we just do it?
You know, this, and I've said this many times, if you actually talk to the people at the Maritime Authority or the people at the State Department for Fisheries or the people in the Jumuiya counties of Pwani, you will hear that there's a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of planning that's happening, okay? I feel that a big proportion of what is not working here is lack of involvement of the critical stakeholders. Because, for example, when the Kenya Maritime Authority came up with these new regulations on safety regulations, the first people they should have involved and engaged with are the fishermen. Told them, so guys, this is what we'd like to do. This is what is required as a global standard. We'd like to move towards this global standard. All right? Can we walk the journey together? How can you be assisted? So that then the conversation can move from there, and even KMA facilitate with these people and talking to the local county government, how can these people be facilitated and helped to upgrade? When we hear MPs going to Parliament and, the Agriculture Committee, instead of looking, because they are looking at the newspaper report and it's saying foreigners are coming with trawlers, and then the MPs are saying we are going to stop foreigners from selling their fish to Kenya. Instead of talking about how we shall empower the local fishermen
to do exactly that same thing.
Yes. You're saying is we shall stop those fishermen from coming.
Because guess what? Surprise, surprise. Even if you stop the fishermen from coming, have you solved the problem here?
You haven't.
You haven't. It's not going to make any difference. So you stop the foreigners from importing their fish, or rather exporting their fish to Kenya, right? Let's say you stop them. Let's say you even stop licensing them to fish in your waters.
Yeah.
Let's say you do all of that. But then the things that we're talking about here for local fishermen, you do not implement them. You do not make sure that there's protectionist policy to make sure that their commodity will be taken to market with the proper licenses, etc., etc. You will not make sure that anything that actually is imported from other countries then will have to deal with price controls and things like that. You don't do any of that. You might as well leave these people to continue exporting their thing. You might as well, because it doesn't make a difference. For me, the first move should be to make sure that your people are protected. If you're truly saying that this agriculture, this economy is the one that's going to save the country, then the people who do it for the country should be the first ones to be protected. Let all these other players do whatever they want to do. The people, look at the countries in the world that actually implement protectionist policies for their citizens. Do they stop exports? Do they stop imports? They don't stop imports, but they make sure that your people are protected so that, number one, your people are buying, first of all, from the locals. Why are they able to do that? Because your farmers are protected. Because the policies, the implementation policies have been set so that there are certain things that you make sure that these people can thrive and survive in the business that they're doing. So anybody who wants to import, come and do whatever you want to do.
And protection does not mean stopping others.
Exactly, it doesn't.
Protection is empowering.
Empowering those that are yours.
You know, that competition is not bad for us.
It is very good, actually. It's very, very good.
It helps you set standards because you realize what other people are doing that you probably need to emulate or standards that you need to rise to. You know, March this year, something interesting happened, right? The Go Blue, okay? That is the Blue Economy Secretariat. The initiative was March 25th, was launched in Kenya, all right? Now, we also got 25 million euros funding from the European Union. Now, 4 European member states, France, Germany, Italy, and Portugal, promised that they will provide technical assistance. But in addition to this, the United Nations UN Habitat also pledged and have also begun the process of ensuring that they set in motion processes that will help the communities within this blue economy understand how to maintain the environment and how to safeguard the ecosystem. Why is this important? This resource that we keep speaking about lives in this ecosystem.
You're not bringing it from outside.
No. No. And the ecosystem that we're talking about is not just fish. It is the mangrove, okay? It is the reef. It is everything that survives in that particular
within
space.
the waters.
Yes, exactly. So it is a good thing that is happening. But, you know, we've had a Department of Fisheries. I know a little bit about it because I've had dealings with them in an earlier life. They are truly well informed. Just like most research institutions we have in this country. If you're looking for information,
they have it.
Oh my goodness gracious. They'll tell you
and
things.
they're renowned and respected globally.
Yes, they are.
But locally,
you don't even know. Now, are you telling me that there has been a program that we can point to and say, this is how the government has connected the research that has been done in this field with those who actually operate in this particular space?
I think that's where the gaps are. Remember, Kenya hosted the Global Blue Economic Conference just about 3 years ago, all right? Yeah. And a lot of conversation happened on growing the blue economy.
Yes.
Since then, conversations have taken place. Jumuiya ya counties of Pwani, the Lake region counties, they have all talked about blue economy and how to harness blue economy. National Marine Authority is now marine and blue economy. Okay? There's all this that's taking place. However, is that information actually trickling down to the people? Let's bring in somebody who knows a little bit about what is happening around the issues of the blue economy, especially on the coast. Emmanuel Nzai is joining us on the line. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning. How are you, Latif?
Salama kabisa. Welcome to the Situation Room, and thank you very much for joining us.
Asante sana.
Emmanuel, you've worked with the Jumuiya counties of Pwani, right?
I have not worked. I have worked and I'm working for the Jumuiya counties of Pwani. I'm the CEO,
right.
Jumuiya counties of Pwani Economic Bloc, and I'm the advisor of the Go Blue project.
Very good. Now, this is what we are talking: the Go Blue project and the blue economy. And what is happening? You saw the stories. I mean, the stories in the media recently on the plight of Kenyan fishermen, for example, on the issue of regulations and tighter regulations around safety for fishing, the issue of accessing markets for Kenyan fishermen, and the issue of just tapping into the blue economy. First of all, you have all the information that is needed. And the question that we're asking ourselves is, do the local fishermen along the coast know what work has been going on behind the scenes?
Well, thank you for that. And I was listening a bit to the other presenter there, and I appreciate this opportunity. Granted that you just told me a few minutes ago. So I think I will answer this in two parts. One, the issue of the blue economy, fishermen, and call it the fisheries economy. Or really this new buzzword of blue economy, it needs to be looked at in the context of simply the country, Kenya itself, and how we have handled, be it agriculture, be it simply our economic affairs. Okay? The fact of the matter is the coastal region this blue economy, the fisheries sector, was neglected, and partly of it has simply been people making decisions in Nairobi, having some research. Of course, we have the Kenya Marine Research Fisheries, but those decisions and the initiatives which are being taken, it's either from a point of the national government or development partners, and like I just said, the bridging with the economic benefits to the fishermen or to the local or its participation, that gap has never been filled. So this story that you are hearing right now, both the Go Blue, which is simply a project, and I think I would just like to correct, the funding is coming from the European Union to all these implementing partners, the UN Habitat, UNEP, which is doing the seal and planning, GIZ doing the training with a bias of training young people into the blue economy. All of them, again, focused on simply the people and the youth of the coastal region. Italy is the one which has been in the front to do the marine fisheries, and we have mapped up 7 beach management units of more than close to 100 beach management units in the region. So the idea is to focus on those areas where we'll be reaching out to about 4,000 fishermen. We build capacity on them. We sensitize them on both conservation, but also in terms of how we build capacity for them, give them equipment, this compliance that's required so that they can comply with Kenya Maritime Authority, the Coast Guard, issues of nets, issues of all that stuff. So it's a program that will run for the next 4 years, working very, very closely, actually joint at the hip with the county governments. So the critical point of this probably is a question of what's the difference. To your question, do the fishermen know? This is the story of devolution. Each county government has a fisheries department. Agriculture is devolved, so is a good bit of the fisheries. Each beach management unit has an officer who needs to get data from that beach management unit or the landing site on an everyday basis. So we want to strengthen that process where there is always interaction between the local authority, which is the county government, with the fishermen on a daily basis. The beach management unit is a documented and very, very structured governance space for the fishermen. It needs to be strengthened, but I think the structure is there enough.
Okay.
That's the linkage that we have with the county governments. Thank you.
Emmanuel, it's just what you've been able to, describe sounds great. What does it mean, very simply, for the fisherman today, with what you've been able to put in place? What does this mean that the fisherman who wakes up every day and goes out onto the water and then brings his catch and then hopes to sell it? What do these policies and the things that you've implemented together with government mean for the fisherman on the ground or in the water, literally?
Yeah, thank you. What it means simply is, one, the fishermen with this program will be more. They will get more capacity building for them to have better skills in terms of fishing. This is deep sea fishing. They will get equipment. We're providing boats to them, but not only boats. For the next 4 years, we will handhold them. Training in terms of safety gears, and simply new ways of fishing with conservation. The result of it is that their fish catch will be more, and that means their income will be more. We are connecting this now to the market side. So each of these beach management units that we're talking about will be equipped with a market. They will keep to cold storage facilities. And they'll be simply equipped with the kind of support system that is required.
Okay.
We are partnering with the financial services sector so that the beach management unit is also moved into a circle where they get to manage much of their affairs. So the whole of that play between the production side and the market side essentially will be strengthened for the benefit of the fishermen, and that will get to remove much of the mealy people. Who really have been taking much of the income from the fishermen.
How will it affect then the price of the product that goes to market? And I'm asking this question vis-a-vis the cheaper imports we've been seeing of fish from the Chinese market, for example, which, if this ban that is being proposed by the National Assembly comes through, will not be an issue anymore. However, how has it been able to play out, and how will it affect prices? Because supposedly this fish that is imported is cheaper. So if we're looking at the consumer may not be buying directly from the Kenyan fisherman, but then is buying from an outside source. So with the help and policy implementation that you've been working on, how does it then affect price while keeping the fisherman afloat in terms of profit?
That's a fantastic question, and I really like it, because you see the problem we've had in this, if you have to look at the whole fisheries value chain, has been both on the production side, where our people are not benefiting in that production side, and even that production has a lot of mainly people. So you look at a boat, the boat will be owned by someone else. They will probably own also the engine, and then the fisherman. At the end, then there's this rates. By the time they land at the site, a fisherman has gone there. That fish is divided probably 3-4 times. So they end up simply with a few kilograms for them to sell and have income on that. What this program will do is it will remove all those mealy tiers, because if you give a boat to a fisherman, that means much of that income is coming to them. If you give them, the engine and all that, they have much of that stuff. So that means by the time they land, they own much of that fish and the fish catch that they have, which goes into the market. What does that mean? What it means then, when they land now, they're more competitive with these Chinese, which I agree with all these proponents that the Chinese totally need to be shut down and they need to go. So when they come into the market now to land the fish, by the time it goes into the market, the fisherman can now sell at a competitive price, where they can be able to compete within the marketplace. So that's the simplicity of it. Of course, there are many factors around it, but the key is for us to be able to remove these mealy tier people, which the Chinese do not have. The Chinese go steal our fish, then they come in and dump it into the market at lower prices because they don't have any other additional costs, which we do. Of course, the other part of it is our fuel costs. Our fuel costs are very, very high. So a fisherman who goes out there with a boat and you divide it into all the stuff, it's really strenuous. So one of the things we've been thinking is, can we potentially provide subsidies so that a fisherman, in terms specific to the fuel costs, they are probably subsidized so that they're low, and it makes sense because why is it that the coffee farmer out there gets subsidies and the fisherman does not have subsidies?
Yep.
Why is it that a fisherman, a coxswain's boat for them to get a license, it costs 50,000. And a regular coffee person, probably, even if you have to rank out some costs, it does not cost more than 10,000.
Yeah.
Or a bus driver. Well, how much does a bus driver, the license of a bus driver cost to get it versus simply a coxswain who is out there?
Yeah,
so these are things which I think it goes back to what I said earlier. The policy stuff needs to be very practical. I think we're practical, but there are very practical solutions at this point. It is not rocket science to put in a fisherman to go fish and simply come up with a fish catch for them to go outsell. The rest are all these man-made policies which we get to complicate the space. So I think what we have, I think, is for the first time, and it's a process, but I think for the first time, especially the county governments, the national government is doing what it's doing, but I know what my economic bloc and the county governments are doing. We have focused simply on this fisherman, because when one is caught out there by probably the Coast Guard or Kenya Maritime Authority, they call their politicians, who in turn is at a county assembly.
Yeah.
So we've been looking at these things, and I think we're making some good progress now.
We have a couple of more questions for you.
Yes,
Emmanuel.
sir.
If you don't mind, let's just take a quick break. Having a conversation with Emmanuel Nzai. He is the CEO of Jumuiya ya County za Pwani, and we are talking about what needs to happen to improve the ecosystem for the local fishermen. What needs to be done? And that's what we're discussing. Let's take this quick break. For the local fishermen, the numbers that matter to them are, well, number one, it's time. Number two is the number of fish that they catch. Number three is all these things, the amount of money that is required to operate as a fisherman. And how much are you making in return? And how much is your competition making? How much is your competition selling the same fish for? All these numbers matter. When you talk about numbers and the numbers that matter to you, what numbers matter to you whenever you think about numbers? NCBA would like to think about that, and to remember that they have solutions for very many of the numbers that matter to you. NCBA, go for it.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
Media.co.ke/jobs today, and let's help you find the next ideal candidate for you.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. 24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
The name is NCBA, and the numbers that matter to you matter to us. Get your NCBA asset finance loan approved in just 24 hours, as well
It's
as your
cloudy
car
at
insurance.
13 in Nairobi. It'll go to highs of 21 today. 20 will be the high in Nyeri. It's cloudy at 12. And we're looking at sunny conditions in Nakuru at 13. Highs of 24. 23 will be the high in Eldoret, where it's sunny at 12. Coming down to that low for today. Partly sunny conditions at 18 in Kisumu. Highs of 29. 29 will also be the high in Kakamega. It's partly sunny at 18, and 23 and mostly sunny in Mombasa. Highs of 29 and lows of 21. We're looking at lows of 23 in Malindi. It's mostly sunny at 24 and a rise to highs of 28. 27 will be the high looking out of Kenya into Kampala. Mostly sunny conditions at the moment at 20. And 22 and mostly sunny in Dar es Salaam. Highs of 29 and lows of 27 will be the low in Johannesburg. It's clear currently at 8 and will go to highs of 20. 30 will be the high in Lagos. It's mostly clear at 24 and clear conditions at 20 in Kinshasa. We'll see highs of 32, back down to lows of 20.
Spice up your life.
Okay, all along Lunga Road today in industrial area, we're looking at quite some traffic. Now, Jogo Road today, Oh my goodness, all the way Hamza through to Landis Road and then out into the CBD. It's jam-packed. Langata Road is reading red all the way from the turn-off at, so even before Langata Road, the Multimedia University out through past Rongai, past the university, out to the junction and then through to the roundabout at Timor. We're looking at into Nairobi West. We're looking at going towards Bagathi Way. It's an absolute mess this morning. And then we're looking at connecting with Aerodrome Road, not too badly until you get to the mouth of the roundabout at Bunyala Road. That's where things get a little bit sticky. And then we're also seeing traffic coming out of Westlands as well. We're looking at the Thika Superhighway all the way now from Survey through to the Pangani Underpass out towards Ngara. Ooh, doesn't look too pretty this morning, so let's keep an eye on this. Looking into Muranga Road and then out to Kipande Road as well. Oh, those options that people are taking not looking too good. Okay, coming out of Westlands, Muthui Road is where it's packed because the Museum Hill ramp is still closed. Keep an eye out for these things, guys. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
22 minutes to 8. Kenya's biggest conversation continues on Spice FM, online, Spice FM KE, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And you can see people who are tuned in even from Uganda and contributing to this conversation. In the room with you this morning is Eric Latif, Ndu Oko, CT Muga. Joining us on the line this hour is Emmanuel Nzai. He is the CEO of Jumuiya ya County Zapwani, which is the Coast Region, Coast Counties Economic Bloc. He's also the coordinator of the Go Blue initiative. We are talking about the blue economy, how we can support our local fishermen and also just support local supply of fish. City, you have got very many questions that you'd like to ask Emmanuel. Start with question number 1A.
Emmanuel, thank you very much for being on the show. Question number 1A, according to Eric, is actually just one question. You are working towards a desired goal, which one would refer to as the success or the end goal of all the activities. Now, what will this success look like? How will the farmer benefit from it? How the farmer, as in the fish farmer, how will the local community benefit from it? How will the ecosystem within which the fish thrive and in which the fishermen ply their trade, how will it improve? The three areas.
So the success of this is if we can turn around at least the 7 beach management units or landing sites that we have, where we have a strengthened fisher for community. It's operating more as a business entity, so that all the fishermen, the captains who go there, the micro, small, medium enterprise with each boat carries probably 4 or 5 men in it. By the time they land, if each beach management or landing site has 10 boats, those are 50 men who are feeding a lot of families out there and enabling a whole value chain. So if we are to increase their fish catch, if we are to multiply their income times 3, sustainably, we give them much of the financial services that they require, and again, they really operate and we elevate them to a micro, small, medium enterprise thinking. Then with that, we'll have succeeded, because what we have learned, especially for Mediterranean blue economy in Italy, is that fishing is a tradition, it's a culture, it needs to be cultivated. We have lost a good bit of that in our region, and that probably is the biggest problem that we have had. There's a lot of people who go fishing, but they don't really have a culture of fishing. And you can see some of the indicators around that is that in the coastal community as it is today, we do not eat much of the fish that we need to eat from our own sea.
What do you mean?
There's actually more fish that we eat from the lake, which gets in there. But the totality of it, our fish consumption is very, very low. So I think that you need to go deeper. And I think the other submitter was talking about in terms of this research. If you dig into much of the research which is in there, it goes back to the culture. So we need to cultivate that culture. And that's why this program, we want to run it. It's not just a 1-year program, it's a 4-year program. So that we work with the current fishermen who are there, but we also get into the business of literally of their families. What is the wife doing? What are the kids doing? Are they going to school? And do they have the culture that they are learning through this? Is the wife a mama karanga? So that it's more family oriented, where the father and probably the son, they go fishing, but when they come, that money moves into that family. So it's a whole case that we have in terms of simply turning around this play with both the equipment, with the capacity building, but with also the agility to simply be able to change things as we move. And this is a commitment. The county government have really bought into this idea. It's a solid plan which we've been working on it for the last 2 years, doing the studies. Each of these units that we are talking about, we sent out all the fisheries officers to Italy for 3 months. They just came back. So they will be the one who will be supporting this. We're in partnership with CM Institute, which has been studying the Mediterranean blue economy, to help build the capacity. So I think we are prepared. We're very, very prepared to do the run, and I think we're going to be successful.
As you implement this 4-year project, Emmanuel, what are the milestones? Let's say year 1. What should we expect to see by the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th year in terms of outputs, in terms of what we should see on the ground, the organization of the fisher folk community, whatever else, coming up with the cooperatives? What are the milestones?
So the milestones, again, they're very, very practical, by the way. It's not rocket science, because the fishermen are already there. So this year, what we hope to do is one, the beach management, we have qualified them, so the members who are there, we know who they are. The county governments will probably come in to really assert the governance structure within those beach management units to make sure that those fishermen are there. The first phase is for us to build the capacity and give them the boats. And in that capacity, all of them will get gears. You've seen this, the Kenya Coast Guard is doing its job to do enforcement, which quickly is catching these people off guard, where a coxswain needs to have their license. And that license costs. So we want to take them to training to simply comply and be able to have a good partnership with the law enforcement, because they need to do their job, and it makes sense. It's good for the country. It's good for all of us. Right. So we do the training. We give them the licensing that they require. We basically give them the rules of engagement that, as much as you are getting the support, these are the proven ways of doing these things, and we'll get to work with you. Okay. So we should see this probably in this first year, where we are able to give them the capacity, we're able to give them the equipment, and then we go to the market side for us to be able to manage much of. So they land the fish. Then where does it go to? What other small medium enterprises can we potentially build for the local ones who probably simply want to do supplies, or they want to do more fish shops out in Nairobi or everywhere? Do they have a van that they can simply put a cold storage and they can move? So that's what I think we're looking to set this foundation within the next 12 months. The inception process is about complete by September. So we should probably be able to move into the first phase of this in the last quarter of this year. By the end of next year, we should be able to be having a conversation to gauge how much more fish these guys are catching and how much more income they are getting.
Right.
And probably we get to see the effects.
Okay.
So the idea is very, very practical as it can be.
Emmanuel, even as you talk about these tangible efforts that are being made and what we hope to see in terms of timelines and all of this, I believe that the mindset also plays a huge role here. To say that this vehicle of wanting to pick up part of the economy and then to really look and say agriculture can be one of the elements of fuel that really pushes this. Because I look at other countries around the world who set up an economical structure, but then realize that these gaps then are filled with things like agriculture. If we look at what Brazil has done and become part of the BRICS because of their agricultural exports and what they've done in terms of protection for their farmers. If we look at any country who has made it or has taken a leap up, has been because they've used agricultural reforms as part of that fuel. Is there the realization and acknowledgement here on ground about just how vital it can be as a cog in all of this to move things along? Because we can have the paperwork, we can have the policy, we can have the timelines. But if everybody is not working on the same point to say that this is actually something that can contribute significantly to the renaissance of the economy, then it might seem as if we're just going round and round. And like CT had said earlier, the fisherman just ends up in the same spot that he was a year ago. So for me, I think even as we are going towards implementation of these things, the realization of how important it really, really is as a piece of the economy moving forward, I think plays just as important a role.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think you see. I think the good part about this, you know about the agriculture sector transformation strategy for the country, which is embedded in the Vision 2030 and now the sector plans, the current ones. So in terms of policy and strategy, honestly, I think we have that in place. The president came up with his Big Four agenda, and food security is one of them. So I think the thinking and what we need to do to kind of transform this country, we know that it is based on agriculture, agribusiness and all that you are talking about, and that's why I think it motivated for us to go into this blue economy. But I think what you're talking now is really the test of really the Kenyan challenge that we've always had, implementation.
Yes.
And I take this honestly personal because I was at the Vision 2030 Secretariat, so I know much of those challenges. So every day I wake up, I know the implementation nuts and bolts is simply with the county government. These guys who wake up every day, is the fisheries officer going to go to the landing site to get a count of how many kilograms or tons of fish we have gotten? Is that the Kenya Marine Fisheries Research Institute also taking account of the variety of fish so that they can bring in that data and be able to synchronize that data? These policymakers and implementing guys like, in our case, we have the sector working group of all the county executives in charge of agriculture, livestock, fisheries. Are they meeting to talk and take stock of this implementation program, be able to adjust where they need? The governors are right handy, right there. So I think I want to be more optimistic and really move away from the skepticism that we have had, because at this point it is only us who can do it. We have, I think, the authority, we have the decision-making mechanism for us to be able to do that, and no excuses at this point. And I think to your earlier statement, that to the extent that the European Union has assessed and seen the opportunity that we have as county governments, as economic blocks, and go to entrust us with a 3.5 billion shilling project, which goes in straight out to the beneficiaries. That is a major statement. And I think through that, we should be able to raise the resources that we need, and be able to execute, working hand in hand between the national government and the county governments.
I think, Emmanuel, you've just got it there by saying the issue is in the implementation and making sure that people who are employed to do some work just get up and do what they're supposed to do. But at the same time, as you're saying, is the officer going there to the beach management units to do all these things? Those who are working are, for example, the Coast Guard, because reports that we are getting, in fact, some of the comments that we are seeing, this particular example, in Kipungani area, in the last 1 year, the fishermen have been barred from the Lapset area from accessing the deep waters because the Coast Guard guys have been there. What's the point of training a fisherman who was born and has just lived the entire life fishing? Is this not just another bureaucratic way of isolating them and excluding them further from what they basically do on a daily basis? Saying, we'll come in, we will train you, we'll come in, we'll do capacity building, we'll give you this license, we'll do this and the other so that you can catch up. It sounds to them that, what you're just coming to do is you're coming to introduce.
If I may add to what Eric is asking, if you consider that many of the boats that fishermen fish, let's say along the coast of the Kenyan coast, most of those boats have 2 individuals in them, and yet a fiberglass boat, say with a 150 horsepower engine, costs something like 2 million shillings. And you're talking about a boat that will have a capacity of carrying, should we say, 100 kilogram worth of fish. Now, how do you expect a fisherman or this sort of fishermen who have this very rudimentary way of fishing to compete with people who have vessels 3-4 times this size? And yet in our discussion, I don't hear one of just providing the basic capital equipment, which in this case is a boat, number one. 2, I don't hear of capacity for value addition, meaning, yes, it is fish. Do you fillet it? Do you export it?
Do you can it?
Do you can it? What do you do with it? When I asked about what will success look like, when you industrialize this particular sector of the economy, that is when the value addition will actually benefit the fishermen and their lives can actually change. Otherwise, even with what we are suggesting, it looks like they'll just be doing the same thing that they were doing before with all the training that you've given them.
Well, maybe, this conversation, you could take it in many, many ways and argue it in many, many different ways. But if you've been listening careful to what I've been saying, is that right now, much of the fish that we have, actually, we have a big market, a local market, a big local market. To the extent you said it yourself, if a Chinese steals our fish, lands it in our country, and they sell it at a local market, so it's a local market conversation. So don't talk about exports in the first place of what we are doing. The fish processing. Fish processing, you go. I don't know which landing sites you've gone yourself. I know I've gone to many. But today at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, with the mama karangas who come in there, by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, the fish is gone. Okay. So don't talk about processing. Processing is
there's
out
local
there,
high demand for what we currently have.
The amount that we currently have, and yet we can have more.
No, but no. I do not want us to get into this skepticism part, right? Because if you say that and you talk about a problem, you also need to come up with a better solution than the current one that we have. We have assessed this stuff. We know what we are talking about. We know what we are doing. So it is okay to have some of these questions, but maybe also sit down and listen. The space that we are in, it is true that the Kenya Coast Guard out there and the Kenya Maritime Authority in Kipungani, they have been doing what the Kenya Coast Guard does and what we ask them to do. The gap which is there is for us to simply be able to equip our fishermen, to build capacity on them, and that is what we are doing. The boats that we are going to give them, they are big boats which can go into deep sea fishing. They will be carrying 5 people each at the least. They will be equipped with cold storage, facilities, will be building cold storage in their landing sites. So again, it's a very, very practical process, which has been tested a few times. It is ready to move, and it's moving. So unless we come up with a better option than the one we have, this is all what we have.
I guess the question is, if we're talking about, so this is the immediate, the short-term immediate is let's build the capacity of the local fishermen. And you're saying you're going to provide them with boats. How are they going to get the boats? Is it a loan facility, or is the county government buying boats and distributing the boats to the beach management units and saying each beach management unit is getting a donation of 3 boats? Or how is it going to happen?
So again, a very good question, and I know that the back end of that is that county governments have been buying boats. Much of those boats have had challenges of governance and what happens to that boat, which goes into my earlier conversation that it's a culture. You need to get the right people into these boats. So the boats, they're not paying for them. The boats are now coming in as part of us strengthening the beach management unit, the fisher community who are registered in that beach management unit. We have a governance structure which is forming them into circles. Tana River actually is ahead of this game, where I think they started launching their circles, the beach management unit as a circle.
Okay.
So we give it to them, and that is how we initiate the subsidies. It's really the subsidy play. We give them the boats; they're not paying anything to them. The only thing they will be paying now is fuel, and making sure that they pay their rates into the beach management unit, and then we take them to the market side.
Okay. Emmanuel, we'd like to have this conversation with you in the studio so we can also look at, some of those steps practically and get some questions as well coming in from people who have been asking very many questions on social media. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity and looking forward.
Asante sana. Emmanuel Nzai is the CEO of Jumuiya ya Kaunti za Pwani and also coordinating the Go Blue initiative. We were talking about what needs to happen to basically tap into these opportunities in the blue economy and what has been happening in the last couple of years. So there's money that's coming in from various development partners, the projects that they're talking about rolling out. Are we going to see immediate results? He says within the next 1 year we should be seeing things happening and moving. Well, we'll be asking the people on the ground to actually tell us what they see happening. Keep it right here. More conversations coming up in the next hour, and we like it when you contribute on social media, SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. ITF Ship Inspector Kenya, you're right about the fisheries management, and we have problems in fisheries. That's a comment that's coming in. Somebody else also coming in and saying, you know what, that whole issue of value addition, it's big. We need to also think about value addition so we can compete, not just supplying fish locally, because we have a lot of stock. Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Fury and rage have greeted an incident in which Deputy President William Ruto's trip to Uganda was halted over protocol issues. Protocol teams in the presidency are on the spot following the incident in which the second in command was kept at the Wilson Airport for over 5 hours, leading to the cancellation of the trip. Ruaraka legislator Tom Kajwang has described Ruto's travel fiasco as both humiliating and suspicious, seeking to know the role played by protocol teams between the office of the Deputy President and that of the head of state.
I would want to know the role that was played by the protocol staff of the Deputy President, because the Deputy President is a constitutional office in this country. And when a Deputy President visits a neighboring country, the protocol officers need to know that there must be a consultation between the office of the Deputy President and the office of the Presidency. This has exposed our Deputy President to ridicule in a manner which has been played to be political rather than what it is.
Meanwhile, Deputy President William Ruto's allies continue to raise their concerns with the manner he was barred from travelling to Uganda, saying there is no law that requires him to seek for permission before he travels. They say time has come for the Deputy President to be accorded the respect he deserves.
I don't think as a country that we should just watch as we see overzealous government officials humiliating a person in the stature of the Deputy President of this nation.
I have never seen, I have never known, there is no law that requires that the Deputy President be cleared at the airport.
Mpaka tunaambiwa ni lazima tuende kwa Matiang'i ama tuende kwa Kenywa. Kenywa ni karandi katika nchi. Na naibu rais hawezi kuweza kuomba ruhusa ya kutembea kutoka kwa Kenywa ama kutoka kwa Matiang'i.
The Coronavirus Disaster Management Committee in the county of Mombasa has banned the treatment of COVID-19 patients at home. Mombasa County Commissioner Gilbert Kitillo says the move is a safety measure to curb the trend where individuals are setting up ICUs at home. In a new raft of measures to contain the surge in COVID-19 infections, the county has also banned live performances in bars and restaurants, these coming at a time the county has continued to record increased infections and number of deaths.
We have received cases whereby some individuals have opened ICUs in their own homes. That is a very dangerous practice. Ile live bands kwa mahoteli, kwa mabar is banned forthwith.
The positivity rate across the county grew from 7.1% in the month of June to 15% in the month of July. The mortality increased from 36 in the month of June to 89 in the month of July.
Silver medalist at the Rio 2016 Olympics in javelin throwing Julius Yego has failed to qualify for the semi-finals of the ongoing Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. Yego threw his spear a distance of 77.34 meters, a distance that is only 5 meters short of the qualification required to qualify. In 2016, Yego made history after winning silver medal in javelin throwing, where today he was expected to shine even more. In today's schedule, the semi-finals of the 1500 meters race will be held at 1 p.m. before the 400 meters race later at 1:30 p.m. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Something's amiss on Langata Road today because we're looking at it stretching even further back than it was about an hour ago. Jam-packed all the way through, from the turn-off at Bomas all the way through to the roundabout at Timor. Something's going on there. If you have an idea, do let us know so at least you can warn folks ahead of time. We're also seeing that then connecting with Bagathi Way up that hill round to the city mortuary roundabout. That is also jam-packed, and we're looking at a lot of traffic in that particular area. Coming off Bunyala Road, joining with the roundabout at the Nyayo Stadium. There's also quite some traffic. In Maradaima, as usual, we will see this for a few more hours. And then we also see traffic coming off from Gong Road, coming out of Westlands as well. Thika Road, my goodness, red, all the way from just beyond Survey, then joining with Kiambu Road, which is now many lanes. Also seeing traffic coming out of Westlands. Muthui is hot and heavy. And we're going to have to use that as the option for the next coming weeks. Okay, so let's keep an eye on things. We are in the middle of traffic hour. It beckons. SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Text on 40127. It's Wednesday. In the middle of the week, we want to keep things moving.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
6 minutes after 8. A very good morning to you. How are you doing? This is the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room. Wherever you're tuned in, Mary Anamela Sinkala is watching us from Lusaka, Zambia. Good morning, Mary. A very good morning to you. In addition to Idhawa Francis, who is in Mombasa. and everybody else from wherever you are. Asante sana. City, today's proverb.
Right. You cannot tell a hungry child that you gave them food yesterday.
You cannot tell a hungry child that you gave them food yesterday.
Eh?
Okay.
Yesterday is gone. We're dealing with here and
I'm
now.
hungry now. What do you expect? What you expect me to do?
Indeed.
Yep.
When hunger beckons.
Feed me.
Feed me. At a time like this yesterday, we had a conversation with the PS for Broadcasting and Telecommunication, Esther Koimet, around the issue of COVID and what we need to do to make sure that we are keeping ourselves protected. Fact of the matter is that the COVID is spreading in the country, that very many people are getting infected, that there are many people who are getting affected, people who are going to hospital, landing in hospital and finding they're going to hospital because they need hospitalization. They're going to hospital mainly because they are not feeling very well, and many of them maybe will need supplemental oxygen. Get to hospital, no bed available. Get to hospital, oxygen not available. We even saw a lady who posted a story on social media, and she said, if this be my last post, I just want to thank everybody who has supported me. I am in the hospital. We are being told by the hospital staff that we don't have oxygen. Please, government, can you organize so that there is oxygen in the hospital? So somebody is already in hospital, but they're told we have a shortage of oxygen. There are those who are seeking to go to hospital, and then they're told, no, we cannot admit you because we don't have any space available. C.S. Muthui himself said, at this point, we do not have space available. And we're talking about this left, right, and center. It's not just in Nairobi. It's not just in Mombasa, where we hear the county government has even said, we are noticing that people are coming to the hospital now when it's a bit too late. And they need hospitalization, and we could have done this a bit earlier. And we need to do something about it. So it's an issue that we need to discuss. And look at it now from the angle of those who have actually had experience with COVID. And we want to share stories this morning. Those who've had experience with COVID, either you got infected with COVID yourself, you needed hospitalization, or you needed information, you needed something, and how you were able to access it. Or a close friend, a relative who got COVID and the experience that they underwent. Because we all have these stories. Now let's speak about it, because it is happening. We are speaking in our various groups. We are speaking at home. We are not able to speak in some cases. But let's just open up the conversation this morning. Let's share this story. Remember our friend Jimmy from Malindi?
Yes.
And he called us one morning and he was distraught because he had just received the news of his younger brother who had passed away from COVID. And he said, guys, my brother is gone. And it is because of COVID. And since then, we've not heard from Jimmy. Hopefully, John will be able to reach him today. And we can talk to Jimmy and hear. Jimmy can tell us, the story of his brother, his hospitalization or not, the journey of Jimmy's brother through COVID. Everybody else with an experience, please call us in and let's hear you. 0719 012 600 or SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. The stories are there. And I want to raise one where many people have gone to hospital. They present with symptoms that are akin to COVID. What we've been told, these are the symptoms of COVID. You have shortness of breath, you have fever, you have a cold, a cough, a dry cough, you have this and the other, weaknesses in the joints. And then you go to hospital. And what you'd expect is maybe the doctors or the medical personnel will tell you, let's test for COVID so we can be sure. But in many cases, what we're hearing is people are going to hospital and they're told, looks like pneumonia. So let's put you on pneumonia treatment as we observe what happens. And in many cases, people who are ending up dying from COVID or coming to hospital very late, the first time they went to hospital or they went to a health clinic, they were told something different. We suspect pneumonia. We suspect any other disease.
You know, it's odd. I was talking to a friend of mine who has been fully vaccinated, and yet they were feeling out of sorts. Headache didn't seem to go away, fatigue, and they figured, malaria. Kenyans. Fever, malaria.
Headache, fever, headache, joints.
Joints, malaria. Taste, malaria also interferes with their taste buds. Now, my friend has a daughter who had COVID, had gotten it in school, but had been away at camp. Came home, looked at the parent and said, "You have COVID." As simple as that. You have COVID. Now, so they took themselves to hospital.
And lo and behold.
Oh, indeed, they had COVID. In fact, what I was being told was the doctor didn't send the report. The doctor called and told them, "Come, let us talk about this." They figured this must be bad. Now, the report I was given, because I asked, "Give me the details. How did you feel?" He said, there was a headache that just didn't go away. And it wasn't your average headache. It was a splitting headache. Said then I had no energy at all. None whatsoever. I had no appetite. I could drink some water, and every time I smelled food, I wanted to throw up. And the only saving grace that they spoke of, they said, I wasn't hospitalized. I am now better. I fear to think what would have happened to me if I had not been vaccinated.
And these stories are many. Julius is calling in from Mombasa. Julius, good morning.
Morning, Eric.
How are you?
Morning, Duoko and City Muga.
Good morning, Julius.
You guys make my day all the time.
Santisana.
I have an experience of losing friends to COVID.
Yep.
One of them was actually somebody who was a former MP of Ijara, Mohammed Duale. I talked to the man exactly 9 days.
We lost Julius. John, let's try and get him back so we can hear this experience. Share your experience with COVID. Have you been infected by COVID? Have you been affected by COVID? Let's see. People who have basically just seen a friend, like you've just told us. I've also seen the same kind of friends. Somebody goes to hospital and the first thing they're told is, we suspect this could be, and this could be pneumonia. And you're put in pneumonia medicine, you're told, go and take an x-ray so we can see the chest activity. By the time this guy is going back to hospital, the lungs are basically almost gone. And you have to be put into oxygen immediately. John, we've lost Julius, so let's see if we can get Julius back on the line. If you can just call us back, Julius, so we can hear from you. As well as Jimmy, if you are hearing us today and you'd like to share the story of your brother Jimmy from Malindi, let's hear from you as well. 0719-012-600. Very many of these stories, very many of these cases, what is it that we are experiencing with COVID, especially at that point of getting the symptoms, seeking hospitalization, or not, going through the whole experience, the whole journey and out?
I think the scariest thing for a lot of people right now who do get any symptoms is that you don't know the state of affairs physiologically. And we already know from the different warning signals that were sent out from Dr. Githinji, for example, and others who talk about oxygen levels being low, is that by the time the symptoms come, especially with this latest variant, you do not know just how bad the levels of oxygen are. Now, take that and couple it with the fact that this vital resource is not available in many of the hospitals. And I cannot imagine how extremely scary it must be for a lot of folks at that point who get these symptoms, who may take a test and then are found to be positive, and then you cannot get this life-saving resource. You need to breathe.
And you can't. There's
and you're
no oxygen.
begging people, you're begging hospitals, doctors to help.
Julius is back on the line. Julius, sorry we lost you.
Sorry, thank you. I'm driving now. COVID is real. And many people think that it's just a story up and down. I had an experience with the former MP of Ijara, Mohammed Dwale, who was a good friend, an elderly, who actually came to check on his brother in hospital, and I'm Someh Quran. He was in ICU, but he ended up being the one who passed away.
Wow.
And he told me, take care of your family, Julius. This thing is not a joke. Later on, 11 days later, I lost a friend on the same issue of COVID. And we had to quarantine actually double time, not even single time. Because it's a man I handled. I helped him out. He had an accident where he fell and actually broke his leg. And I took him to hospital, only for the guy to end up having COVID.
He went to hospital because of an accident, breaking a limb.
Yes, and I took him myself. You see, I handled him personally.
And he
physically.
tested positive for COVID.
He turned up positive for COVID. 11 days later, we could not be even allowed to see him.
Wow.
12 days, he was gone.
Wow.
Yes. People think COVID is a joke. It is not a joke, my friend. It is actually there, and we have to really, really be careful in this country.
Thank you very much, Julius.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, you guys. You guys are doing a very good job with your show.
Asante
And may
sana.
God bless you all always.
Amina,
Thank you. Christine in Mombasa, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning,
fine,
Christine.
Great. I'm glad you guys are talking about this topic this morning because it happened to me personally. Okay. I was not feeling well. I had a sudden headache on Saturday. Terrible. My eyes were hurting. Sunday, it was fully blown. My joints were hurting. I was feeling feverish. Took myself to hospital here in Mombasa. They asked for all my symptoms. And they decided, let's check for malaria and dengue.
Okay.
My blood work comes out fantastic. So I asked the doctor, what am I fighting? He says, I don't know. Maybe you're a bit stressed at work. Oh, well, I do work in a stressful environment. So I said, fine. So he says, okay, fine. Here's some medication to help you sleep. You just need some rest. He gives me 2 days off, Sunday and Monday. So I go back to work on Tuesday, feeling very lethargic, weak, not sleeping very well, lack of appetite. By Wednesday, I lose my sense of taste and smell.
Wow.
Thursday, thank God my office decides, yes, let's send you all for testing.
Yeah.
And what do we have? What do I have? COVID. So it is the laxity of the hospitals and doctors who are not taking the COVID seriously because the first test they should have done was COVID.
Right.
I've suffered from malaria before. This was not like malaria, but thank God my symptoms are not so bad.
Did it cross your
But it was
mind,
when
Christine, at that point, when they were doing tests for malaria and dengue and all of this, did it cross your mind to say perhaps it could be COVID and can we test for that?
I always find when you tell doctors maybe it's this, they start rolling their eyes at you and asking, are you the doctor?
And saying you're not
or
the one
am I?
who went and did a medical degree, right?
Yes. And even if they want to ask you, do you want to do it? If it's not covered by insurance, would you like to do it? I would have said definitely yes.
Yeah.
I'm trusting the institutions.
Yep.
And I went back to my office where we could have infected everybody else.
That's very true.
So it's all well and good to tell us to social distance and take all these measures to make sure that we're safe. But the doctors and the hospitals are the ones letting us down. Is it about making money?
Or maybe just a
once
lack
they
of
treat you for
equipment.
pneumonia or malaria, maybe it's about keeping you in hospital.
That's a possibility.
This is, for me, a very serious issue.
It's a possibility, and somebody who has confronted the disease firsthand as you, it cannot be a pleasant experience. However, remember, COVID is new. So even for the doctors, believe me, it is as new as it is to you.
But CT, today,
But test first,
COVID.
at least.
Yes.
In what we're dealing with today.
Yes. So if somebody comes with those symptoms, among the things that you're putting in the elimination list, why not COVID? Why malaria? Why dengue and not COVID? Why not add COVID to the list?
I am not saying that doctors are to be excused. I am simply saying that whenever you have a new disease, and COVID is still new, it may have been with us for 2 years, it is still new. So the thinking behind the diagnosis will be, what could this possibly be? And maybe COVID doesn't come into the list immediately.
But because
and we are saying it ought to come into the list
because we're
immediately.
dealing with a current pandemic that you would hope, and I hear what Christine is saying, and you can stop me if I'm wrong, Christine, but I hear that the hope would be, because this is the one thing that has proliferated health-wise, that we would hope that it would be one of the things that you cross off in terms of elimination when somebody comes in feeling a certain type of way.
I agree exactly.
Christine,
especially since it's so infectious.
Yeah. So how was your experience then with COVID throughout?
You know what? Thank God I that I was like basically asymptomatic, but my son ended up getting it also. So we were in home isolation together.
How old is your son?
My son is 25. And he has been extremely careful.
Yeah.
He's online at university. He used to go swimming every morning. He had exams, so he stopped. But I'm the one that gave it to him because I'm the one that was going to the office and coming back. And thank God in the office we only had 3 positives. If we had stayed longer,
maybe more.
After being misdiagnosed,
maybe more.
My appeal to the government would be, roll out those vaccinations. Give us the vaccine so we can get on with our business. We need that confidence.
Thank you very much, Christine.
We have to wait for the vaccine. Thank you very much for listening to me, guys. Asante. You guys are doing a great job.
Asante sana. Picking more calls, 0719-012-600. We are seeking just stories. This day, we want to have a common conversation. The experiences that we're having with COVID. Have you been infected with COVID? Have you been affected by COVID just by taking care of somebody who got COVID and they've had to go through that experience? Have you lost a loved one, a close friend, a relative to COVID? And how has that experience been? SpiceFM KE on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is also where you can share your story. Joanne in Kilimani, good morning. Hi, Joanne.
Yeah, so my experience with COVID, I had an uncle who was quite young. He was 33 years old last year. He was feeling a type of way, a little bit weak. He works in a bank, but they were working from home, so he didn't have to go to the office. So even when he felt a little bit weak and fatigued, he didn't think that it was COVID. He went to the hospital. Some tests were run. He was diagnosed with pneumonia, sent home and given meds, pneumonia meds. I think one night, 2 days later, it got really bad, and he had to go back to the hospital. And he was dead within 24 hours.
Wow.
So and he was 33 at the time. There was all of these conversations around, if you're young, or if you don't have underlying symptoms, then you wouldn't get COVID, or you wouldn't be very severe. But then he died. He was 33 last year. I have an auntie who was in ICU for 2 months. Her hospital bill was 4 million shillings. She still experiences long COVID. She literally drags around an oxygen tank in her house.
My goodness.
If it wasn't for friends and well-wishers, she was not going to be able to meet the 4 million because, of course, local insurance covers have so many caveats when it comes to covering COVID. My personal story is I've not gotten COVID to the best of my knowledge, but I was pregnant for the better part of last year up until March this year. The mental anguish that just comes with, because pregnancy and COVID are just not friends. You don't want to be pregnant and get COVID. And so just trying to figure out, the mental angst of that. And then, of course, upon admission, you have to get the COVID test, which is, very uncomfortable. I don't know why we are still talking about only 1% of the population has been vaccinated. It's a tragedy. It's a complete tragedy. The only way I know where vaccinations are is if somebody quickly sends a WhatsApp message in a group I'm in. Guys, there are 20 vaccines in KNH, whatever. Run.
Yeah, run.
Yeah. Run.
I've seen a picture today. There's a long queue at Bagathi.
Yeah, so do we even know where these vaccinations are? We want to be vaccinated, but do we know where they are?
Yeah, a lot of information gaps. Thank you very much, Joanne.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Look forward to having you in the studio again soon.
Yes.
Anthony in Kisumu, good morning.
Good morning, Tim. I think the experiences shared by Julius from Naivasha and Christine from Mombasa are heart-wrenching. And nobody would want to go through that. Personally, I've not been tested, so I don't know if I've had it and I was asymptomatic and I got cured naturally. I pray I remain the same. But the people who are affected most, I think, the economy. In Kisumu, we had a lockdown. It was a curfew, the 30 days curfew that I think really hit us.
Yep.
And that affects us economically. That made us men go to the house and start quarreling with women at 6 p.m., which is very absurd for no men. And the anxiety. I think I have a priest who tells me that COVID can get anybody anywhere. You only need to follow the regulations. But above all, you need to sanitize your heart. You need to manage your anxiety. And you need to take it as a disaster that we have.
Yeah.
And most of the people who succumb, he tells us, are either not strong mentally or they have been given a lot of information that in your mwisho sasa, there's nothing else. So he tells us, just go to church, pray, read, be close to God, be close to your family members, and should you have it, just follow this simple regulation and you'll come out of it. Because he tells us there's no cure.
Yep.
But you hear 4,000, 5,000 people are cured. It's their mental strength that probably makes them, and maybe diet and lifestyle or something like that. Otherwise, how the government, I had the interview you had with the PS, Koimet, recently, and some questions she was dodging, like, why is the government not for walking the talk? I had Kanzedena release the press that the president was going to cancel the Makueni or Ukambani trip, and he went. He's planning again another one in Bungoma in Western Kenya. He had one in Kisumu that led to the curfew. So probably should they just tone it down and make us believe that being home is good. Make us believe that following the MOH regulation is good. And above all, let's be mentally strong, let's be emotionally strong, and let's return to God.
Oh, that's very true. Thank you very much, Anthony.
Emotionally strong and let's...
All right, so let's hear from you as well. 0719-012-600. What's your COVID experience? What have you heard? What have you gone through? I mean, just listening to these stories, you go to hospital and the entire experience of the cost as well, just like Joanna's told us. Cost is another major factor, which is also even making people fear going to the hospital. Okay, I'm feeling this way. Do I want to go for a test? A test means 6,000 shillings in the minimum.
At the least.
And once I get tested, if I need to be hospitalized, who's going to cover for that? So all these factors that are in there, and just like Julius is saying, look, psychologically, how are we psychologically? Once you get it, once you start feeling, okay, I've lost taste, I've lost sense of smell, is this likely to be, is this, I am not able to breathe. What does this mean? Is this the end for me? You know, that whole thing is psychologically traumatizing. Let's hear from you after we take this quick break. SpiceFM KE on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, 8:30. Time for us to take a look at the road situation.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM. Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and
Mostly cloudy conditions in Nairobi at 14. That'll be the low for today. Highs of 21. Highs of 20 in Nyeri. Light rain at 13. Mostly sunny conditions at 15 in Nakuru. Going to highs of 24 and lows of 13. We'll look at a low of 12 in Eldoret. It's currently sunny at 15 and partly sunny conditions at 20 in Kisumu. Highs of 29. 29 will also be the high in Kakamega. Partly sunny conditions at 20. It's raining in Mombasa at some parts, at least at 23, highs of 29 and lows of 21. 28 will be the high in Malindi, where it's mostly sunny at 25 and mostly sunny conditions at 21 in Kampala. It'll go to highs of 28. 29 will be the high in Dar es Salaam, where it's mostly sunny at 24. 9 degrees and sunny in Johannesburg. We'll see highs of 20 and lows of 7. We're also looking at mostly clear conditions in Lagos at 24, highs of 30. 32 will be the high in Kinshasa, where it's partly sunny at 20. That'll be the low for today.
Have you seen them? Am I lying?
Yes, it's a very nice outfit, I must say. Good
Thank
job.
you. Asante sana.
The compliment is well received.
Good morning and thank you. Evan Wasingishi was asking me what channel is Spice FM.
96.7. Tell them that, right?
Yes, now they know.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have
you.
you.
What a beautiful studio, my friend.
I've been to other radio stations, but I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you, and it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant.
And I have to say, it's a very cool ambiance here in your radio room. Just for our listeners, I think it is below zero in this room here. Very Swiss temperatures.
All right, still continues to be an issue in industrial area. We're looking at Jogo Road, also jam-packed, and also on Langata Road. Don't know what's going on there, but it seems like this morning's traffic is quite the thing to contend with. Spilling on to Landys Road from Jogo Road, we have that traffic entering into the CBD. And we're also looking at traffic from the Nyasin roundabout through to Westlands, in and outbound today. The Museum Hill ramp we still can't use, and so we see heavy traffic coming off Muthui Road, connecting with Thika Road, and then going roundabout into the city, coming back then towards Chiromo. So several pockets of the city still on Thika Road, where we're looking at heavy traffic, especially at the adjoining at Kiambu. Wow, yeah, that's quite something this morning. Let's keep an eye on things. Still in the middle of traffic hour. Hopefully it eases off without too much pain. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. That's how you can get in touch. You can text on 40127.
24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
They are stealing every opportunity that you should have. They are stealing your health facilities. They are stealing all the progress that you planned for your child. They are stealing all the benefits that university students should have. Your livelihood is slowly being taken away from you, which means your life is also being slowly taken away from you as you watch.
Cut through the noise and stay in the know by texting the word TSR to 22840 to receive these and more highlights and insights from the Situation Room directly to your mobile phone. Don't miss out on the latest from Kenya's biggest conversation. SMS TSR to 22840.
School season is upon us, and parents know what that means. Traffic. And the headache of getting your kids to school on time.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Sharing the
94.4 Spice
experiences this morning
FM.
on Spice FM in the Situation Room. Audrey in Kinnaur. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Morning, Ndo. Morning, people.
Good morning, Audrey.
Good morning, Audrey. You sound rather low. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Just a little cold.
Aha.
Hey, Kinnaur can be
Kinnaur will
cold.
do that to you.
Yeah, yes, it's extremely cold here.
Okay.
So, I haven't had a personal experience with COVID, but I've had several shares.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the office, 3 of my colleagues tested positive, and the 3 who test positive surround me. So, I'm the only one who was left in the middle without COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was it was a very scary time at that point because the entire floor had to be told not to come to office for a day so that they can do fumigation. At some point, we actually started saying that our office building was like the hub of COVID because it was one case after the other, and every day we would get notifications of staff who have passed away.
Wow.
Yes, it has been a very difficult time for us.
How many colleagues have you lost to COVID?
There are many. I think in the excess of 50.
Whoa.
Yes.
More than 50 from one organization.
Yes, we have lost very many staff.
And what is the staff complement of this organization?
Sorry?
How many people are there in this organization?
We are around 7,000. Yes, that is countrywide.
50?
Those are many people.
Those are very many people.
Those are
Yes,
many people.
and those who have been admitted, those who have recovered from it. I mean, the number is huge. It's been a very big issue for us. As much as our employer tries, we have actually implemented working from home now. Because we are we are in the front line.
Yeah.
So not everyone is able to work from home. But they have put in measures in place to have rotations and shifts and all that. At least just to reduce the number of people in the office at any given time.
Audrey, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. Have a lovely day, guys.
You too. Victor in Nairobi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, guys.
Good morning to you.
Thank you very much. You have a very good conversation over there, and you're doing a good job for this nation.
Sante.
I've had a similar experience. My mother had COVID, and I could say she almost died. Yeah? But what I also observed is that there's another COVID that we probably do not know or we are taking for granted. I think most of our medical institutions are taking advantage greatly. Yeah.
How so?
For this. For instance, in my case, we had a very huge bill. After 1 week of admission. After carefully analyzing the bill item by item, I realized that they were doubling each item. Yeah, for instance, things like physiotherapy, multiple COVID tests at hyperinflated, prices, some medicine. And when I questioned, I put a star on most of them, most of those items. They were actually struck off the bill. So my bill initially was around 230-something thousand and came to around 170. Yeah. So for me, this was a clear indication that something fishy is also happening here, even though, there was a COVID situation. And this is something that I think the Ministry of Health needs to have a keen look at, how people are being charged, and the diagnosis process and all these kind of things,
Or even medications or interventions that are being given that are not necessary, because you said this is a COVID situation and we're hearing things like physiotherapy then having been applied. Why?
Absolutely. Like in my case, they also said that she was put in an isolation ward. But when I had to travel to Kisumu. I risked, my family's situation. I went to Kisumu and I realized that she wasn't in an isolation room. Yet the bill indicated that she was being charged an isolation ward, which I saw. Was around 17,000. But when I complained, now this bill was reduced to like a private ward, which was around 6,000 or 4,000 shillings. I still have the bill, by the way.
It was 17,000 a day.
Yeah, 17,000 a day, and came back down to around 6,000 a day. Yeah, when I complained, that is. Yeah, during the time I wanted to discharge her.
Yeah.
Yes, for me that was very, very serious. Because we are being affected emotionally, financially, and you can imagine all kind of risks that you go through when you want to take care of your COVID patient.
Sure.
Yeah?
That's quite a big story there. When you ask them the reason, when you're having that conversation and you're questioning item per item, what response would you get?
Very good. This is the response I got. That sometimes these bills are not correct, so it's your responsibility to check if things are right. Then we can correct them. For me, this is like conmanship. This is fraud.
Actually,
so I still have the bill. I wrote to the ministry.
It's theft. It's outright theft. Yes.
A robbery, and in fact, you are robbing somebody who's going to die. Now you can imagine what else other people are going through. Those who are in ICUs. I almost I was running mad, in that hospital. Yeah. So I wrote to the Ministry of Health, no response. Let me just first of all say that the service delivery in this country is appalling. There should be a pyramid of incompetence of our officials. Yeah.
Who's at the top?
at the top is the traffic police. Complacency, incompetence, lack of knowledge of rule of law. Second is the Ministry of Health. And I think I wish one day you invite both the Interior Minister and the IG of Police, whom I wrote a letter to about 2 months ago, never responded with I proposed some solutions, The Ministry of Health also, we need to have him in the room, in the situation room. He needs to respond to the citizens. Yeah, he needs to tell us what has been done in the past 1.5 years. Yeah, before and even after, during COVID. This was the best time for our ministry to streamline our healthcare infrastructure, both soft and hard. Yeah, policies, procedures, the doctors, hospitals, oxygen production, systems. This is really, really bad, guys. It's totally bad.
That's very true.
And
Thank you.
I wish you invite these people. Please start with the IG, then follow with the Minister for this healthcare.
We will resend our invitation to the CS
yes,
for health.
And I will also send you my bill, the bill that I got. Yeah.
Please do.
Please do that. Actually, you can do that. You'll be able to communicate with John and get this bill. Let's see. You can also post it on our social media on Twitter and tag us SpiceFM KE.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. You're doing a good job for this nation, and I hope that somebody at the top listens to you guys and does what needs to be done.
Asante.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Asante, Victor. Also, some comments on social media.
Patrick says, just hearing the word COVID scares the hell out of me. And anytime I have slight pain, it brings a chill in my spine. I've so far lost 5 very close persons to COVID. It's really painful to receive a news of death of a friend who you just talked with a week earlier. John Gera says, COVID-19 gave me the worst experience. After my colleagues tested positive, I decided to quit my job. Now I depend on farming and I am jobless. Many have died in our organization. You guys, when we're giving these numbers in the morning, and I said it again today, I actually don't feel as if the numbers that we are getting officially is a true reflection of what is happening.
They cannot be, because our testing capacity, we're only doing 6,000 when we have done very well. We have 6,000 samples or so.
We're not getting the true picture, and it's not possible from the experiences you hear from the groups that you're in, the experiences you hear from the groups that I hear, your neighbors hear. It's not possible that the entire country is giving us 1,000 cases in a day, and then we're hearing these stories on a daily basis. And the painful thing for me is that we're not hearing, oh well, I got COVID and I got better. We're hearing harrowing experiences of people who've gone to seek medical attention, cannot get a vital resource. In a country where we're supposedly on top of things, if you look at that, you have a blueprint of the success of this country. When you're not able to care for your sick and you're vulnerable, that is the measure of how you should be assessed. It is that. Don't talk about all these other things. Don't talk about our plans for this, we've built a birth. Don't talk about that. People who are sick have not been able to be cared for. People who are vulnerable have not received the attention that they require. That is how you look. That is actually the true picture of the country.
Who you are. It's 9:15. Let's continue hearing from you. SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can call us 0719-012-600. This morning we are sharing our own personal COVID experiences. You have yours, your story you'd like to share. Please call us in and we will take your call. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM. Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM. 24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Mama Vera, you look so relaxed. How do you manage to get your children to school in this city? There's too much chaos on the roads and I'm always late for work after taking Kevin to school. It's a daily logistical nightmare.
Hey, Mama Kevin,
Have you not heard of Maramoja Transport? They pick my children from home to school and bring them back in the evening. Vera does not have to wake up too early in the morning and after school. She gets home very energetic and has enough time to do her homework. Even her grades have improved.
Thank you, Mama Vera. Hapo umenichanua. This back to school, I will enroll Kevin on Maramoja Transport.
Maramoja Transport is a community-powered mobility platform with 6 years experience serving top corporates in Kenya. Maramoja's school transport solution is ideal for parents and school administrators alike, guaranteeing you peace of mind, accessibility, and safety for your children. Register today by visiting our website on www.school.maramoja.co.ke or email us on maramoja.maramoja.co.ke. Save more, stay safe, and no stress. Get more with Maramoja.
Losing a loved one is never easy. The lingering memories, the what-ifs, but in all the gloom, we find ways of celebrating them. And here at the Standard Tributes, we aim to give your loved ones that befitting send-off. Visit www.standardmedia.co.ke/tributes today and post your loved one's tribute. In addition, get access to funeral services from our trusted vendors. The Standard Tributes, keeping memories alive.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
Are you looking for a job? The Standard Group is looking for a business manager, projects, partnerships, and fundraising. Do you think you qualify for that? Log on to jobs.standardmedia.co.ke. You will find that among many other jobs that have been listed by other organizations. For example, there's an organization that's looking for a global financial advisory service specialist, a retention and community linkages lead, a community water sanitation and hygiene lead. What's that? Sheesh. PMTCT and RMNCH FP GBV lead. HIV prevention and testing, HIV testing services lead, web developer communications lead, various organizations looking for various cadres of employees. You can find all these on jobs.standardmedia.co.ke. It's a platform that's managed by the Standard Group. So organizations come onto this platform, they list the jobs, and then you come in and you're able to apply. You can also get other information like career tips, how to structure your application letter, how to structure your CV, how to conduct yourself in an interview. All these jobs.standardmedia.co.ke. We are sharing stories about COVID, personal stories on COVID, on what's happening. And the issue of cost is a big one, just like Victor was saying. In fact, a friend recently told me that, he had a patient in hospital for COVID. He told me COVID is a dangerous disease, and it also is a stark reminder that health is for the rich.
Healthcare.
Health. Your health, you're rich. Because the moment you don't have that health, issues. It's expensive. Just basic hospitalization. You're in hospital, you require the oxygen. So how much is oxygen being billed at? Our PPE is available, just like we were talking about. So a year and a half down the road, we are still having the CS for health addressing a media conference and passing a message to KEMSA and telling KEMSA release PPEs to the counties, even if they haven't cleared their bills with you. This is the CS who is in charge of KEMSA, speaking to KEMSA through the media and telling KEMSA release PPEs to the counties, even if they haven't paid. And we all understand some of the reasons why counties maybe have not cleared their bills with KEMSA is because
they've not received money from Treasury. Come on.
This issue of not receiving money from Treasury, I think may be a blessing to some counties.
Yeah, that too.
Yes.
It's a valid excuse.
Perfect. How do you expect me to pay and I've not been given money?
National government has not given us what we need.
By the way, the friend I mentioned was actually listening to the show, and they told me to add, remember, I also lost the sense of smell and taste. I couldn't taste anything, I couldn't smell anything. But more importantly, they say breathing was painful.
Painful breathing.
Very painful
Splitting
breathing.
headache.
Yes.
No taste.
No sense of smell. Weak joints. No energy.
We thank God he wasn't admitted to hospital.
She
wasn't. Was she?
No, she wasn't admitted.
We thank God she wasn't. With all that, and she came out of it. Some of these stories, we take them for granted. Just like we were having a conversation yesterday with the PS, Esther Koimet, and we were asking, so what do you think it is? Is it that we have not been able to internalize, or it's a myriad of factors? Because there are many people who test positive and they tell you, they can swear, I was doing the best I could to protect myself. I was observing the measures to the best of my capacity. And yet, because it's in the air and you must breathe, you get it. So even after we've done all those things that you need to do, then on the other hand, you need to know, once I've done everything, in the event that I actually contract COVID, I am going to be able to get the support that I need.
What makes COVID truly, truly dangerous?
Yep.
It's aerosol. You see, how do you escape it? You go to work. Every once in a while, you're in the presence of other people.
Yep.
You may have touched something that somebody else has touched, and you touch your eyes, you touch your nose. It's like you have to be vigilant in a way that you've never envisioned vigilance before. And even then, one could argue, your safety is by the grace of God.
True.
It is. It is. Because you will not necessarily get it from somebody who is very sick.
No.
You'll get it from somebody who does not look like they're unwell. And you'll trust them. Oh, I haven't seen you in such a long time. Undu, hug.
Voila.
We're friends.
Yes.
It's okay. I mean, we've been taking care of ourselves, right? Yeah. So come to my house this weekend. Let's enjoy.
I remember I mentioned sometimes back, I came across a church leader who did not believe that COVID was an issue and insisted that one must shake hands. And I told them almost literally over my dead body.
Share the peace.
Yes, and we had a discussion, and a fairly interesting one. But my worry was, now, this is an intelligent person who understands scripture because they are quoting it, and yet they're forgetting one fundamental, the reality that COVID exists. Just that. Now, if you know COVID exists and yet you are telling your congregation that they are protected, they don't have to worry. We had a similar problem many years ago in the field of HIV. Whenever a very well-known evangelist would come to the regions I worked in, and they had a crusade, a meeting, and my goodness, people would start defaulting. Defaulter rates just increased. People would stop taking the ARVs because they'd been prayed for, and tell them, hey,
pepper it with some logic.
Just go and get tested.
Yes, please.
Let's not doubt what God can do. Go and get tested. If indeed the test indicates what you believe has happened, who am I to argue with you? But please get tested. Now the problem is, you stop taking your ARVs, you've defaulted. Essentially, you've interfered with that process that had been set in motion. You have to start all over again. And that process is not an easy one for your body. Forget your mind, your body. Many people who are men of the cloth, men and women of the cloth, religious leaders, they have to join us in this fight, and they have to talk about it from the pulpit, from the premise, any platform that they have for delivering their duties. it's something they must talk about positively and assist. Because
Sure.
if they don't, they will be providing the very negative effect that we really don't need with COVID.
We're not in a good place.
Yes.
And, I think that there are several platitudes that have been ascribed recently. And a lot of reason we've tried, we've talked, we've done what we need to do. But the truth of the matter is that we're not in a good place. Whether you want to look at it from testing, you want to look at it to then care of those who've been infected, you want to look then in terms of vaccines and how many we've been able to get into the country, we're not in a good place. And we continue to have people who are being infected. Now, you can imagine the being infected with the virus and then not receiving the kind of health care that is necessary for treatment. A harrowing experience where in your very last moments you have to beg for help.
Yep. Read that comment by Kireki. I think he sent the message in 2 bits.
Sure. Right now, I have a patient aged 64 years who contracted COVID a month ago. I took her to the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. She was admitted for 3 weeks and then discharged last month, 24th. This was after I was forced to take her home, despite the fact that she was very sick. I think we're waiting for the rest of that message. As soon as it comes in, we'll be able to share. But I mean, clearly, that's an experience being shared by Kireki to find out exactly what happened.
64
it would appear as though
admitted for 3 weeks in hospital.
And would appear that she still has COVID, but she was discharged.
She's still ailing. She was told to go. Kireki, was she still tested and found positive with COVID even after 3 weeks hospitalization? Because that would be something else as well. Of having the same positive result even after 3 weeks of being unwell. But you can imagine the kind of experience that she even underwent of being in hospital for 3 weeks and then you're coming out and you're still sick. And we've seen even people talking about what you have with COVID at present, COVID, and then there is a post-COVID. And the experience that you go through, your body does not come back up to 100% immediately.
Oh, no.
So you still have a lot. Your breathing is an issue. You have, your thinking is an issue. I mean, you're just wondering, are you feeling out of sorts for a long time, even after you've tested negative for COVID?
Barnabas says, my friend's brother really quickly died through a road accident. When clearing for the burial, they were told the post-mortem has been done and that the result was the departed was COVID positive. And then they were asked to then pay 50,000 shillings at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital.
Sheesh.
So, I mean, in addition to how bad it is, we still then have this theft and corruption.
It's the same thing that Anthony was telling us. Was it Anthony or Julius from Mombasa? Take a person who is involved in a road accident. They have broken a limb. You take them to hospital, and during the course of treatment, they are tested, and they are found to also have COVID. Oh my goodness! And he passed away. And this is the same thing that Barnabas is talking about. More of these conversations to continue. Good morning. It's now 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The news at the top of the hour on Vibes Radio.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Assetto. Deputy President William Ruto has broken its silence over the fiasco that saw him deny the opportunity to travel to Uganda yesterday. In an interview with the Nairobi radio this morning, Ruto denied the existence of any procedures it needs to follow before being allowed to travel abroad, adding that during his 9 years as Deputy President, he has been visiting various countries, especially in Africa, for official and private visits, and there have been no obstacles.
Ratiba gani? Nimekuwa naibu wa rais kwa miaka 9 na nimetembea nchi nyingi kwa ziara rasmi na kwa ziara yake binafsi. Hakuna wakati hata mmoja nimewahi kuambiwa ninahitaji kibali kutoka mahala popote. So ni sheria gani hii ambayo imeanza sasa? Mimi sijakuwa naibu wa rais jana.
He is now accusing some senior government officials he did not mention, saying their main goal was to humiliate him.
Nimetembea dunia hii kwa shughuli ya serikali na shughuli ya kibinafsi. sijawahi kuulizwa na mtu yeyote eti nahitaji kibali kutoka mahala popote. Hii kibali ambayo imeanza hii Monday, hii ni kibali ya kutoka wapi? Ni ile tu hali ya kujaribu kunipiganisha ama kuniweka katika hali ya kujibizana na watu ambao mimi nimewaambia sina wakati wa kupoteza kujibizana na wao. Mimi nimewaachia Mungu hawa watu.
Long queues of parents admitting the children to Form 1 continue to be witnessed in Kibwezi, Makueni County. Area Education Director Kennedy Machora has advised parents to make sure they send their children to school by Friday this week as per the Ministry of Education directives. He confirmed that the COVID-19 protocols as directed by the Health Ministry will be observed. And residents of Kerio Valley are calling on President Uhuru Kenyatta to intervene and find a lasting solution to the insecurity problem in the area being caused by armed gunmen. Speaking in Kitale, Olusoiti Jackson said the suspension of hand for cattle rustlers has led to more deaths and fear that the situation could worsen as we approach the general election.
Kuna kitu imenishangaza kama mkaaji wa Baringo. Juu Baringo tumekuwa na serikali mbili. Ilikuwa maajabu operation kusemekana inafanyika Baringo, within some days ikasimamishwa na watu wakawawa usiku hiyo na hakuna response imefanyika kwa serikali mpaka leo. Mpaka askari wenyewe wanafungiwa kambi na wale wahalifu. Sasa nimeshindwa, wahalifu wamekuwa na nguvu kiwango gani kushinda serikali? So ningeomba rais salama waelekeze laini wa Baringo. Juu wamepeleka mpaka jeshi lakini imekuwa ni kama sanamu. Wale bandits wanakuja na wanaangamiza mpaka wanajeshi.
Kenya's total confirmed COVID-19 positive cases are now 205,356. 25 patients account to the disease, pushing the cumulative fatalities to 3,995. 403 patients have recovered from the disease, with 305 from the home-based isolation and care program, while 98 are from various health facilities countrywide. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, still seeing some of it on Jogo Road this morning, headed out into the city and industrial areas. Still a total mess. Still getting off Langata Road with a lot of traffic, turning off from the Bomas Junction, and still all the way through to the Timor roundabout and on Gong Road as well. But either way, peppered with a little bit of traffic here and there. Looking at a lot of it, however, coming out of Westlands, joining from James Gishuru out towards the city centre. Doesn't look really pretty right now. Hopefully we'll phase it out in a short while. It seems like it's just your normal Wednesday morning traffic, but it's clouding up in some parts. Hopefully it opens up. Let's keep looking at it, shall we? SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text on 40127. Help us out.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
It's 5 after 9. Good morning. This is the fourth and final hour of the show today until tomorrow, First Friday. But we still have some 55 or so minutes to have a conversation. And as we're having this conversation about COVID, we will continue and looking at now, what have we done? How many months?
Since
March to March, 12 months. March to August.
17 months.
There you go. City, today's proverb.
You cannot tell a hungry child that you gave them food yesterday.
You can't. This whole story of the government saying, but we gave counties 5 billion shillings last year. So now PPEs, you should be able to buy today PPEs. So now you should be able to...
But we've told you vaccines
But
are
you know,
coming.
it's the same story. We are giving you 50%, Ministry of Education, with the capitation you need. So now...
You cannot ask for school fees.
You run the schools with the 100% capacity with the 50% that we have given you.
And I don't want to hear.
Yeah. I don't want to hear anything.
So what are we doing about the blue economy? Well, we have condemned.
The imports of
Yes, and we
fish
will
and fish
ensure
products outside.
that the Chinese fish, the fish are not Chinese fish. They're just fish, and they've been brought in by the Chinese. So there's nothing like Chinese fish. They're just fish. Okay? Yes, but they've been brought in. And even as this noise is going on, they're still being brought in. So you wonder, when I said, look, keep quiet about it, it's for a good reason. It is noise. We have enough noise. Futile noise of that nature is actually not required, because you're talking to and about a situation that involves people's livelihoods
on a daily basis.
Yes.
As you're yapping in Parliament, there's a fisherman who actually would like to go out to fish.
Yes.
So they can take their child to Form 1.
Yes.
But they're not able to.
They can't.
Coast Guard imesema uwezi ingia kwa maji.
So?
We're going to ban the Chinese from fishing in our waters.
And that's the solution. And everything that you hear about the plans are in the future. And yet fishing has been part and parcel of these people's lives from antiquity.
Generation upon generation.
Yes. So you now want to talk to fishermen about fishing. This is what they've been doing. You want to tell them about what they've been doing. Instead of asking them to contribute to this discussion so that you understand, one, what they do, how they do it, and then fuse in what these huge plans and wonderful plans you have, fuse it into what they've told you. But big plans for the future. And that future, by the way, it just keeps getting pushed forward. If I may use an Eric expression, kick down the road. Just so, same. Now we're talking healthcare. We are talking oxygen. And oxygen plants within the counties.
City, every day you remind us that COVID is a new disease, and there are very many things that are not understood about COVID.
Yes.
But the one thing that was understood about COVID from day one
Yes.
is that it's a respiratory disease.
Nishida, yes.
It's about respiration, breathing. It goes to your lungs. So clearly, among the things that you need will include capacity
Assisted.
to breathe.
Yes.
So we talked about, initially it was about ventilators. Now we've reduced the talk of ventilators, but just getting supplementary oxygen. Even with ventilators, it's oxygen.
Yes.
So where is the oxygen coming from? Months down the road is when we had the CS calling the manufacturers of oxygen in the country and saying, let's have a conversation. Still today, just last week is when we had the CS talking about we are importing oxygen plants that we're going to distribute to certain hospitals. And we want to ask the counties to make sure that there is piping in the hospitals. You know, oxygen is not something that is going to be used in a hospital today, and then if COVID reduces, then we'll have an idle plant.
No.
It's always needed in a healthcare facility. So it's not one of those things that you can say, we were just bringing oxygen for that period. And then what happens if we are able to deal with COVID? What happens if we see less hospitalization? You still need oxygen for very many other things. That's why hospitals have oxygen. So what is it that we're talking about? So many years of our independence, health facilities not having a proper oxygen plan.
I think it's just indicative of
You
fact
find
that
several counties get oxygen from one hospital, which is in another county.
things are not just upside down. I think they're backwards. I think they're going left. I think that even from inception, it was assumed that only a handful of people in the country would ever get sick. And so then the measures that were put in place were only ever to deal with a few people. And even as populations grew, nobody really considered that more in terms of interventions needed to happen. So here you have a virus, or you have a disease that is unfolding before your very eyes. And I'm sorry, whether it's new or not, there are certain things that could have been done. And it flies in the face of anything that would make any kind of sense, any kind of logic, whereby the people of a country so vulnerable and are dying on a daily basis because of this disease. And then on the other hand, proceeds, or not even proceeds, funds that should have been used to combat this disease till today cannot be accounted for, cannot be found, cannot be traced. Where did they go? And there is no attention that is being given to that. And this thing that we're talking about, daily death, is not letting up. It still continues to happen. I don't think that any other kind of conversation should be had. Because over whom are you governing if the people are unwell? If the people are not of sound mind? Look at the conversations we've had just today. People cannot make a living. People do not have a secure livelihood. People cannot be treated for any ailments that they have. People have to go miles and miles and miles to be able to access certain things. Then what are we doing? We might say that these stories are, few and far between, but one is enough for you to say something ought to be done about this. The more painful thing is that something can be done about it, but nothing is being done about it. We continue to skirt around the issues. We'll have conferences and people will stand behind podiums and give platitudes and direction. And then after it, they'll have a cup of tea and then they will go home and as if nothing has happened. But people continue to get sick and die. That is the reality. And if demands are not made upon this government, if decisions are not made about going in the right direction, more people will die. More people will die from the negligence. More people will die from the lack of implementation. More people will die from the ignorance. And I'm not saying ignorance because you are not aware. I am saying ignorance because you choose to turn a blind eye to what is going on. It is a crying shame that in the major hospitals that you have in this country, look, guys, go to another country. This thing you're talking about, oxygen, is it's as basic as the pills you swallow for a headache. It is as basic as the syringes you use to draw blood from your arm. This oxygen we're talking about as if it's gold. It's not. It's not. Let's not, because look, and that's the problem. That's the problem with dealing with bad governance, right? Because here you are with something as basic as oxygen, thinking that it is some rare commodity that even the government is having a difficult time finding. It is not. It is a basic. It's a basic. Now we're talking about it as though, we have to go to the ends of the earth to find this thing and everybody else cannot find it. No. Let's disabuse ourselves from that notion. It is not. This thing I talk about healthcare, that you should be able to go and take a walk to a dispensary and be able to get the basic level of healthcare. And we say, it's not possible because we've devolved and no central government. It is not. It is not. We want to make it seem as if it's a mystery and it's so difficult to do, so we don't put so much responsibility on the shoulders of those who are supposed to be dealing with it. It is not. Actually,
it's supposed to also get you to a point where you appreciate the hard work that
when
is
somebody
being
does
done
one small thing now, you come and say,
your behalf.
Blessed be thou, O King of Kings,
yes,
because you have done it. It is a dirty lie.
And also, it is the same monkey in the same forest with regards to talking at problems, talking at people, talking and assuming that talk is a solution. We will ban, we will do this, we will do the other, we will do the other. We'll put in oxygen plants, we will do this. And yet, if you take your mind back into the not too distant past, that MES issue, problem, it hasn't gone away.
No. No.
It hasn't gone away.
It hasn't.
Now, the thinking that brought it about, do you think it has left our shores and gone off to some other country? It hasn't. It's still with us. And you're actually seeing what is playing out is the same thing. Why is it that when something is done, something which is mandatory, ought to be done, it's a basic, is being presented as though they have invented something that is going... it's something that we should be... us and the generations after us should be grateful for.
It's like they discovered another planet.
Yes.
It is really not. It's basic.
It's what they should have done in the first place.
Yeah. I'm sticking on this oxygen point too. I'm sticking on that oxygen point. This thing that we're talking about is not a cardiothoracic surgery. It's not. It is a basic thing. It is a basic thing that you can actually... Are you not the one who told us just now about manufacturers of oxygen? So guess what? They exist. They're here. They're doing it for other things.
Now, even oxygen plants are there.
Yeah, no, they're everywhere.
In hospitals, it's just that, for example, you'll go to KNH and you'll be told, oh, the plant stopped working a couple of months ago because you needed upgrading. You'll go to Nakuru PGH, you'll find they've been having the oxygen
But they're
facility.
serving the entire region.
They're serving more than one. They're serving as far as Bomet, because Bomet hospitals do not have oxygen.
So now when they fix it, when they fix this one tank or this one plant at KNH and tell you, okay, now it's working, they want you now as Kenyans to believe as though they have they've done some earth-shaking, groundbreaking thing. Meanwhile, it's not, my friend.
It's actually more for their conscience, or more if they have one, than anything else.
It's not.
They're actually telling themselves that they've done a good thing.
And then if you want to look at other things that affect health, if you want to look at blood, for example, this one really pains me. You know that place inside, it gets to me. Because you see this blood that's running around that we say blood banks and collecting, your body naturally is producing, after every 6 weeks, is producing new blood over and over again. So in terms of having a bank in the country that can actually fit the needs of the nation, it is very possible to do. That's what I'm saying. Even the very thing, as I say, the life is in the blood, even the very thing that keeps you going, even that one, they've been able to mismanage completely. They want to make somebody think as if it's some fantastic thing that's being
Kireki
done.
has sent the second part of that message. Just go back again. Start with the first message.
All right,
first part, and then you come to the second.
So he says, right now, I have a patient aged 64 years who contracted COVID a month ago. I took her to KUTRH, that's Kenyatta University Teaching Referral Hospital. She was admitted for 3 weeks and then discharged last month, 24th. This was after I was forced to take her home, despite the fact that she was still very sick. He then goes on to say, you could see she was developing a stroke, one leg and one hand of the right side being numb. She was readmitted last week, Thursday. Now they're telling me she has a heart condition and a lot of other things. We're struggling to pay the bills afresh again. And yes, she tested positive.
Hey. So first time, go to hospital, spend 3 weeks, discharged, go home, start developing symptoms of stroke on one side, go back to hospital. You're told now this is an issue to do with the heart. Readmitted, undergoing more treatment. Now the issue here is they are struggling to raise money to foot the bills. Now, in terms of coming back to hospital and doctors admitting you and putting you under treatment, that's okay. We can ask questions about whether did they miss the diagnosis in the first time. We can ask those questions later. But the issue here again is the cost. It's actually now becoming a burden for them to, what are we going to do? How are we going to be able to foot this particular bill? This is more than a month of somebody going in and out of hospital and back. And we talk about healthcare here, and we put it among those very colorful words and say it's a part of the big four. And we say we shall roll out universal health coverage. And we say that, in this government we have done this and the other. We have blah, 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 blah. And we are still at this point. Yet those people who should be looking at how best to roll out this UHC, there's still now pushback and fights about what kind of reforms are required for NHIF. We are still at that very basic conversation of how do we structure NHIF to serve all of us? It goes 3 steps ahead, 4 steps back.
You know what is actually strange about it? NHIF actually works.
Yes.
And has worked for a very long time. Even the upgrade works. Continues to work.
Yep.
Now, this is what always happens. Remember all the stall projects we've talked about, systems that worked before in every sector of our economy, and suddenly they died, and it's a story of the past, or it used to work this way. Unfortunately, we are looking at that scenario yet again. NHIF, you contribute. They have tried, they've innovated, they've re-innovated and said, folks, this is how we want to go about it. Okay?
Yeah.
Given the number of adults that we have in this country, you still find that the percentage of those who actually are members of NHIF and those who actually even pay, like if you look at the reports we currently have, only 50% of those who are registered members are actually paying. So now, if somebody is in need of the service that it provides, NHIF is already cash strapped. Simply because the one thing that would have helped them, you know this thing called membership drive, where you have more people so that you have a nice threshold of people. Same thing, the same thinking behind insurance. Because it is an insurance scheme really. No, it has to be politicized.
Left, right and center. Let's go back to the phone lines. Karaoke of Lavington, good morning.
Good morning also, I'm Trio. It's been a while.
Where have you been?
Awesome Karaoke, how are you doing?
I'm very good. Fountain of wisdom. I saw you sipping something there.
It's water, my brother. I don't. We have wisdom potion called water. This isn't one of those days that you should allow your imagination to sort of like run amok.
I'm not insinuating anything, but I hope it doesn't have sugar. Do you know what sugar does? I mean, if you stay away from sugar for 2 weeks, do you know how positively it affects? It affects even your memory function because you're the fountain of wisdom. So
it has no sugar.
It doesn't have sugar.
No sugar whatsoever.
Good. You're a good man. Okay.
I now know the basic ingredients that everyone requires to be a good person. You take no sugar.
Yeah, processed sugar.
Yes.
You can take your sweet potato sugar. You can take your sugar cane sugar. But processed sugar, just stay away from it. Now, anyway, we were talking about health, and I can't help but commiserate with I don't know, it was a lady who took a relative to KU referral hospital, and now she has the patient has a heart ailment. I was reading the other day that doctors are actually discovering that when you've had a COVID attack, it has an impact on your cognitive faculties for life. But the reason why I've called is that as we talk about COVID-19, and it's good to listen to people's experiences because we learn from them, let's not forget the basics. Originally, when COVID broke out, there's certain things that doctors were telling us to do, and I don't think that has changed. But it's not being hacked a lot right now. For example, medicine told us that when it comes to flu-based viruses, of which COVID is one, vitamin C is critical to have in your body. So as people are advised to, put on masks, avoid crowds, regularly wash their hands, I'm hoping that in the same breath, people will be told, or with the same energy, people will be advised that they need to eat well, because that's preventative. Let's talk about the preventative aspects with as much gusto as we are talking about what you need to do when you have COVID, what measures to take. So I just want to share briefly I don't have like a very close relative who has succumbed to COVID, but I've had people close to me who have died. These are former, campus colleagues and that kind of thing. We had a house help whose dad died of COVID, and then she gave birth, and shortly afterwards she was told that the infant died of breathing-related problems, and that was back in Nyeri. We don't know whether that was COVID, but we just, we're wondering whether that was the cause. In my family, I have two siblings who are in healthcare, and my parents are alive. My dad is 82 this year. He lives in the city. My mom is 75. When COVID began, one of my siblings, who is in the healthcare industry, advised us to take a lot of this baobab powder. Baobab fruit, there's an industry, like if you go to some supermarkets I don't want to mention, you can get baobab powder in Nairobi. And baobab powder perhaps has the richest content of naturally occurring vitamin C than any other fruit. And one of the effects that we saw, you see, like around February last year, we started taking baobab powder in my family. My folks take that as well. My son, who was asthmatic, actually, because we're fearful, because somebody who's asthmatic can easily catch COVID, or COVID can have devastating effects because already somebody who is asthmatic already has breathing problems. But what happened is that within a month of when we started, and I'm not a doctor, of taking baobab powder and black seed oil or black cumin oil, the asthma disappeared. We have my parents live with my niece, their granddaughter. She goes to school. In my family, we are all taking those two things, baobab powder and black seed oil. And I repeat again, I'm not a doctor, but we have watched on YouTube after my younger sister recommended this to us, the profound benefits that come from those two things alone. Because one of the ways in which COVID devastates the body is through inflammation. There's a medical definition to inflammation. One of the most potent anti-inflammatory naturally occurring substances is actually black seed oil. So I'm hoping that by sharing this, maybe some people can look up and do their own research and maybe emulate what it is that we are doing. But thanks for the show. I've been tuned in from the wee hours of the morning. And before I go, Eric, if you allow me, one of the things I wanted to talk about the fish industry is that even when we ban or when we say we don't want the Chinese fish, Muga is saying it may not be Chinese fish. We don't know where it comes from. It's only being hauled into our shores by the Chinese. But whenever I'm driving to Nakuru or Western Kenya, around Naivasha, Elementaita, you have these people who are peddling the fish that has been, fresh fish that has been fished out from the lakes there.
Yep.
But I'm always hesitant to buy that because the toxicity levels of our lakes from media reports have been high. So when we even bar others from bringing their fish, we should look at our own stocks and look at whether our stocks are healthy to consume. And I'm hoping that one day you will bring in somebody, maybe from NEMA or whoever is responsible for the environment, to talk about how they're making sure that there is no pollution, that things that we're fishing out of our lakes are actually healthy to eat.
That's true. Thank you, Karaoke.
That's all. Thanks a lot.
Lovely day. Thanks. Pigeon in Utawala, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to share my experience a bit.
Yep.
Just last week, there's a friend of mine who was complaining over the weekend that he was not feeling well. Then I'm told that he was admitted to one of the hospitals around. Then they told him the cost was around 100,000 for him to raise, but they gave him some medication, at least some prescription. But they knew it was corona, so he was back in the house. Then I think on Wednesday last week, I was called with a friend of mine that we go help him, but we knew it was corona, so we even asked for masks and we had some gloves. We raised him. We just tried to lift him to the seat. Then he was carried to the hospital by around 1 p.m. By around 4 at night, he was dead. By 10 p.m., he was dead like that.
Was he tested for corona?
Yeah, it's like in the first hospital he was tested and he was told you should pay around 100,000 for oxygen and whatever. So he was not.
So he was tested, he was found positive. He was tested, found positive, and at that point the hospital wanted to admit him. So they
Yes,
can
but,
administer
he was
oxygen.
not having them. So he was at least back in the house. He was just there, and the whole family, nobody was even having mask around as I was trying to see. And there's no even follow-up. Everybody's just there. After he passed away, the family went home, and I didn't see even any follow-up or anything else. And I think maybe they might have contracted the same.
Why would the hospital ask for 100,000? That was what, deposit?
Yeah. For what though?
They
Yeah.
think
Just
they're
to
doing
admit
it for admission, and I don't know, for oxygen, something like that. Because when I was going to help him, to lift him to another hospital where he was to be taken, he was saying that I don't have 100,000. They told me 100,000, but I need oxygen. I don't have 100,000. So take me to maybe a better hospital somewhere. I can get at least some relief. So that's what happened.
That's a sad and unfortunate stories. Thank you very much, Pigeon.
Thank you.
Admission, deposit, 100,000. This is COVID. All right? It's going to cost us, so you need to start paying. And then very many people are not able to afford that, so you just go back home. Home-based care. There's no care at all that you're getting even at that home-based care. And you hear, the gentleman ended up just dying. Succumb to it. It's 28 minutes to 10 o'clock. Let's continue picking your calls. 0719-012-600. If you'd like to get any of the highlights from the show that we do every day, you can get them on your mobile device. Just text TSR to 22840. That's 22840. Text TSR, or you can also get all the highlights on our social media: SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
Hello.
Halo, umesikia?
Nimesikia nini?
Hujasikia habari? Hebu acha nikuambie. Kile kimetokea.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Don't wait for hearsay. Dial *550*1# to read the Standard e-paper from the convenience of your mobile phone for only 20 shillings from your telecom line, and stay up to date for a reliable source with over 100 years of experience with no additional data charges.
Forgiveness is always conditional. Even before God, there's nothing like unconditional forgiveness.
Government doesn't pay you pension until you retire. In fact, they have no money for you. The day you retire, they look for it.
This country is punishing many young people. These young people are more susceptible to be deceived, to be taken advantage of, and they're more susceptible to be bought off.
Let us also talk about where we want our country to go. You know, we are a population of very young people.
We're in a state of capture. The judiciary is under duress. Parliament is in the pocket of the executive. You don't sit and wait for the regime to topple itself. It will never do so.
By the way, let me tell you, these guys are so persuasive. I'm telling you, they can persuade you to sell your grandmother. I'm telling you, they can sell sand in the desert.
Cece, has anybody on this program said to you as a guest, saying, "Oh, shut up, we don't want to be told what to do"? Has anybody ever that kind of... Has anybody been
Listen, I will not listen.
A bit of advice? Because you're working on the premise that we should all pay heed to these proverbs. It's a very suspect notion.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, so we're still looking at cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning. It's going to go to highs of 21 and coming back down to lows of 14. It's cloudy in Nyeri at 14, highs of 20 and lows of 13. 24 will be the high in Nakuru, mostly sunny at 18. Sunny conditions at 16 in Eldoret. Highs of 23 and lows of 12. 18 will be the low in a mostly sunny Kisumu, currently at 25. This morning it's also sunny at 25 in Kakamega. It'll go to highs of 29 and lows of 15. Partly sunny conditions at 26 in Mombasa with highs of 29. 28 will be the high in Malindi. That's partly sunny at 26 and mostly sunny conditions at 23. In Kampala with highs of 28 and lows of 18. It's sunny in Dar es Salaam at 26, highs of 29. 20 will be the high in a sunny Johannesburg, now at 11. Light rain at 24 now in Lagos, highs of 30 and lows of 24. It's mostly cloudy. In Kinshasa at 20 with highs of 32. 32 is also the high that we'll be looking at out in Beijing. It's sunny at 30. Temperatures cooling down in Paris 13 degrees, that'll be the low for today, highs of 21. It's sunny at 15 in London, highs of 23. And clear conditions at 22 in New York now early Wednesday morning. We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 18.
Spice up your life.
Traffic hour is officially over, and we see that less and less traffic now along Lunga Lunga in industrial area. Also, Jogo Road is looking a lot better, but Langata Road and coming off Ngong Road doesn't look too pretty right now, folks. Neither does it looking outbound on Mombasa Road. So we just have to look out for those. It looks like we'll have a longer traffic hour in these areas. Other than that, it looks much better in most parts of the city. Let us know if something does jump out at you. Not to forget, you can use the bypasses. They'll serve you up some good this morning. Talk to us through the day on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Boy guy says, great show, guys. That last caller was so spot on, and this is karaoke of Nairobi. I and my family have been on black seed oil and baobab powder. These two items are very good to our health. I am not a doctor, but I have seen the benefits. And I remember our friend Mohammed from Mokijembe used to call and tell us the same thing. Guys, let's talk about, there's what is available and what we have known to be working. And if you can find ways of supplementing this in our diets, let's do that. There's what the greens do to you. There's what the fruits do. There's what the nuts do.
Anything that enhances your health, anything that makes you healthier, is to be approved of. Yes.
It's true.
Anything that adds positive nutrition to your body should be approved of. The only problem is when you then start considering it to be a cure.
Yep.
Then you will have a problem because it isn't a cure. It's a supplement. It's something that really helps your body do what it's supposed to do well.
Anthony in Mombasa, good morning.
Good morning, Station Room.
Anthony, it's been a while.
Yeah, been a while.
Uli Safiri.
And I think you people are not good friends.
Why no?
When someone gets lost, I thought friends look after friends. At least you follow up, you know where someone maybe.
Tumekubali makosa ni sawa, tunaomba utusamehe.
Tunaomba msamaha, Anthony.
Forgiven.
Asante.
It's okay. I've been up and about. And also in I think COVID got the better of me.
Oh dear.
And my family.
How so?
Started with me. And the funny thing started immediately after I was vaccinated. The day I was vaccinated, that's around 3 weeks ago.
For the second jab or the first jab?
The first jab. That was the worst night I've ever experienced. It was the worst night. The pain, the heat, and my body was literally on fire. And I was feeling so much, I was feeling cold yet I was on fire. Then after about a week, I started getting the symptoms of COVID. Headache, I can't smell anything. Even up to now, hata ukanieka kwa choo, I cannot smell anything.
3 weeks later?
I'm not getting it. Yes.
Wow.
After me, it got to my wife. After my wife, a sister-in-law who lives with us got it. Then my daughter followed. Currently, it's my last-born son, 3 years. But he's battling it well. And one of the things I know, although we were taking medication, These black seeds and there's moringa. Those supplements, the natural supplements, they are very good, and they really help. And one thing I've come to realize, they are readily available in Nairobi.
Yeah.
So many people, but someone should be very careful. There are people who sell you fake things.
Yeah.
You should be very careful about what you're buying and from who you're buying.
That's the tricky part.
Yes, there's a tree called Mwiri. It's also very good. There's the moringa tree. The black seed is also good. So I made it compulsory. In the morning, we take a concoction, a glass each of us. We boil, we put in hot water, blend together, and it has really helped. And as of now, except the part of I cannot smell anything, I'm strong. I'm going on well. We are all good.
We thank God at least that you are fine, and none of you has had to go to hospital.
Hello? Yes?
None of you has had to go to hospital.
At least for my wife and the sister-in-law, they had to go to hospital. They got some medication. As for me, I just did the supplements. Those are natural supplements I was taking. And naturally, I'm not a medicine person. I rarely go to hospital. I can go even for 5 years without even taking Panadol.
You know, you're a case study of what we've been told during this COVID period. Difference between the men and the women. The two women in your household went to hospital. You,
yes,
you naturally
the non-medicine person.
Naturally, I don't.
Surely do.
I held on because I've been taking this supplement even before. Inabidi nikae nguvu sababu one thing I've come to realize, whenever you have a headache, then you run to Panadol. You are making your body become weak. When you go to those painkillers, I take an example and I always tell people, it's like when your body is like a country. Country iko na army. If Kenya is attacked by Uganda, then we run to the US forces for support. We will remain weak. If we decide to fight Uganda, we will be strong. So when your body is attacked by some ailments, at least when it goes to the extreme, you can go to the hospital. But before then, don't run to take those painkillers that inaumwa na kichwa kidogo, meza painkiller, sijui nini, meza hii. Go, body yako iko na nini ya kufight those diseases when they come in. It's only when it is to the extreme, you go for the help, for the medicine. And for me, the supplements, I've been taking them even before. That's why even when they attacked me, plus the vaccine, I think it's also helped me. Young Wilika, maybe 1 week, I was done with it. But for the wife and the sister-in-law, it meant almost 2-3 weeks until they wameanza to recover. So COVID is real, COVID is there. People should take care, protect themselves.
Thank you very much, Anthony.
Angalia kile mtu anakula. What you eat is what builds your body.
Sure.
Asante sana.
Junk food wachaneni nazo.
So for now, Anthony, if anything is happening that's fishy around you, you won't be able to tell. You can't smell a rat.
Yes. I cannot. Even if you keep a dead rat around me.
Ole, thanks for calling. Have a lovely day.
Around me, I cannot smell a rat.
We'll catch up with you again soon. Well, what's your story? 0719-012-600. Many people sharing their stories about, COVID experience. Yes, there are people who also, and this is something else as well. You get the vaccine jab and you get very sick. We have already been told some of the side effects of this could be, you just go through the side effects, you get extremely sick. There's somebody who is known to me who got a second jab of vaccine, felt really, really, really ill, had issues even with breathing, had issues with their other body organs, was admitted to hospital for a while. Doctors were looking left, right, and center. And almost the last conclusion by the doctor was, you know what, maybe this was the reaction to the vaccine.
It's possible. It's possible.
Even as we talk about COVID, perhaps those who have actually received the vaccine and maybe even the second dose and have experienced a nasty after effect those people also exist.
There are people who have fallen sick.
Literally.
Very sick.
Yes. As a result
of the vaccine.
Yes.
As we're listening to, these stories of very many people who've been unwell and then have not been able to get, the medical care that we need, and those who unfortunately have succumbed. As difficult as it is for me to say, then it is clear that what we do need is to be able to care for ourselves first as individuals. So in terms of the protocol or measures that have been put in place that, if you look at it, in some cases really have guaranteed to help to a certain extent, then I think that is what we need to focus on. While the hope still remains that these fellows who are in governance and leadership and who have the responsibility of setting these things in motion get the job done. A lot of medical practitioners have told us that it is not, even in as much as they're in the practice, their wish is that a lot of these things we could prevent. And when you're looking at the approach that government should take in this country as concerns health, preventative is where they're heading as opposed to curative. Dr. Mercy Correa told us that we wish that we would take a preventative stance towards a lot of these things than to then have to come to the curative because it is more painful, it is more expensive, it is more engaging. If we can deal with the preventative, then we would be in better stead. So as we look at and hear all of these stories, if we can try to prevent some of these things, then I think that is the best place to go. Because otherwise, we get into a more painful situation. Where you know that where you're going, the help that you're going to get is limited.
Yes.
You know that this is the situation with hospitals. You know that this is the situation with oxygen. You know that there is not enough. You know that it is not adequate. You already know. We know, guys. We know. So is there something that we can do for those who have been fortunate not to be infected yet? Is there something that we can do while we wait and hope that these other ducks are put in the
addition to observing
row?
the measures?
Yeah.
Is there any more that we can do? I was having a conversation with a very close relative of mine yesterday. We recently lost a family member to COVID. And one of the things that he was telling me was, we get to a point where we realize some of these very simple, basic things that we assume are important. Having conversations on, okay, so all of us, we know there is COVID, okay? Now, where you live, what's the nearest health facility close to you? Can we all know? Where you live, what's the escalation protocol that we may have? Who can you call? Who can you reach out to if you start feeling ill? Do we say that if you go to hospital and then you're told, in malaria, or ni homa, do we just leave it like that? Or what kind of support do we offer? And it struck home because in very many cases, somebody falls sick, just like we do. You feel, off kidogo. You decide, I'm going to observe. Or you decide, I'm going to go to the local pharmacy and get something. Or I'm going to go to the local hospital and get something. And you tell people, oh, yeah, like 3 weeks. Sijakuwa nikisikia poa. And we all like, well, pole utapona. Get well soon. And we leave it like that. Until those moments that Dr. Thinge Gitahi talks about when it's a bit too late. When you need to go to hospital and you need to be rushed to hospital and it's a bit too late. As you're asking, what else can we do? Those are some of the things that we can do. In addition to making sure that we try as much as possible to sanitize as regularly as possible, to observe physical distancing, to wear our face masks, to avoid gatherings and all. In addition to that, can we be each other's keeper? Can you check up on each other regularly? Can you hear that somebody is saying, I'm feeling out of sorts, and you're like, all right, so let's, all of us, hands on deck, let's monitor what's happening, what's going on. This is a health facility that's near you. Have you gone? Have you come back? What have you been told? What have they said? All right, what are you feeling? Can we escalate? We work together like that. We're bringing in our own community health care.
You know the problem with lived experience when it comes to illnesses, we will always associate it with something that you know. Yes, you know there's COVID, but you're feeling feverish. The first thought, malaria.
Malaria.
Somebody, fatigue. Self-diagnosis is something Kenyans do very well. Just like we accompanied by self-medication. Okay? So, by the time someone realizes that this, I'm not feeling too good, is actually I'm completely unwell.
Yes.
It is a process and it takes a bit of time for people to get there. Now, the unfortunate thing with COVID is when it gets there, you're actually in a terrible state. And you actually need ICU care. This is not, you don't just need hospitalization or hospital care, it's ICU. Because COVID works very rapidly. Very, very, very rapidly. It doesn't sort of like take a Sunday walk and then come and greet you and tell you, next week I'm going to come. No. It's just working on you quickly and immediately. It's really very insidious, this COVID. When we were trying to work with communities in getting them to understand HIV, one of the areas that also had to be considered is childbearing. Now, in many rural places, you'll find that they have traditional birth attendants who have been carrying out these duties for the longest time. You'll find somebody with 5 children. All of them have been delivered by a traditional birth attendant. Now, when you start preaching the benefits of hospitalization, it is very easy to forget that these individuals are trusted because they have a track record that people can follow. One of the ways in which the teams we're working with were able to convince women to actually come to hospital, they realized was to work with traditional birth attendants. Respect what they do, understand what they do, and tell them, why don't we have a conversation as to how we can work together so that you do what you want to do, but why don't we bring this person to a health facility so that A, B, C, D can be done. Yes. But so long as you're working as an alternative and not inclusive of this particular, you see, community norms have to be understood before you can bring in a penetrative message that actually is supposed to help them. Because if you don't understand how they look at things and how they understand things, which means you haven't involved them, it doesn't matter how good what you're bringing is, especially if it's a health initiative, it'll go belly up as you watch. Because every time you bring up your discussion, they'll have a counter discussion for you. Yeah, we hear what you're saying, but there's this and this. There's this and this and this. What about, but there's this and there's this and there's this. And the this that they speak of has a proven track record in their mind. So this new thing that you're talking about, we hear you, but how? Traditional healthcare systems are an integral part of most communities.
Sure.
When you hear people talking about this food stuff, which is traditional, this medication, which is traditional, those things work. So you need to understand how it is that community perceives it. You don't demonize it in the hope that they will now accept this thing that you're saying is scientifically proven. Even if it's scientifically proven and it is good, you have to take the time. And that is why when people talk about community health workers, they have to be part and parcel of that community. They have to be people who come from there. So when they talk to these people who know them, they are able to communicate in a language that those people can understand and in a way that they can understand.
And even as you say this, CT, but the coordination, and that's what I think one of the things for me today really is that we've somehow wrapped all of these things in some kind of mystery and some difficulty and said it's really difficult to do. And we're having a tough situation health-wise in the country because it's expensive or it's difficult or it cannot be found. But some of this coordination that you're talking about really is extremely simple. some of the things that could actually sort out a myriad of problems in this country are very easy. It just requires the goodwill, if you ask me, to implement some of them. Honestly speaking, Kenya, at the level at which it is at right now, there is no excuse, really. You don't tell me anything about, oh, it's expensive or it's not. Some things are basic. What we're talking about now, look at the thread of issues that we've seen from individuals who've talked about their problems with COVID. Oxygen not available. Oh, we had to go from one place to another. You told us the same thing. Could not get a place in a particular hospital. We didn't have enough space. They didn't have capacity. We are not talking about major issues that cannot be sorted out with a little bit of coordination and just the resolve to do your job.
Yep.
Just the resolve to do your job.
Just knowing that at least there's a plan and there's a structure
and then
handling
implement
things.
it. That's what we're looking at here. You're talking about, resting on community health workers within the traditional system. You could sit at your desk in an hour and map out how this could actually work.
And I'm not talking about somebody who's gone to college to study healthcare. No. I'm talking about a simple citizen who you train to understand things. You've heard me talk about something called ICCM, the Integrated Community Case Management. The whole idea was to look at 3 diseases: pneumonia, diarrhea, and malaria. And the question was, can a lay person diagnose it? And the answer was yes. You train them, and this is what you need to look at.
Yep.
Can they diagnose diarrhea? Yes, they can. Can they diagnose malaria? Yes, they can. And is it possible for just the fundamental ABCD of making sure you at least manage this thing at a village level? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible.
It's possible.
When it's first noted. So, we haven't talked about a health facility here. Just villagers being able to manage this situation.
Community approach to government was there in the early parts of government.
Oh, yes.
With all those extension services.
Yes.
Health workers, agricultural extension officers, all those. And then we modernized.
And lost it.
And here we are. And we keep talking about it and we start bringing in very many complications. Oh, can we have midwives in there? No, we can't have midwives. People need to go to... Can we... Come on. Anyway, Siti, so you tell us about the proverb.
Well, you cannot tell a hungry child that you gave them food yesterday. We had those systems in the past. They were useful. And they were useful on human beings. We are the same species. We haven't changed.
No, didn't grow
it's the same country.
Third leg.
Yes.
And we haven't acquired more land. It's the same Kenya.
And it's not as though healthcare problems have gone away. They're still necessary, and people still live in communities, and they still trust members of their community. So any healthcare initiative that does not take this into account, yes, there's been improvement. You have a public health department that is fully functional. But if the community angle is not given the emphasis that is required, we will be discussing this matter for the longest time possible without any headway.
Until cows come home.
Yep.
Thank you very much for tuning into the Situation Room today. We appreciate you wherever you are, even those that tell us we're listening and we're following the conversation from all other parts of the country and parts of Africa, parts of the world. Asanteni sana. In Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, Eldoret, Nyeri, Malindi, tuned in on SpiceFM. Thank you very much. Join us again tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. We'll have various conversations as well. For now, until 11, you have some good music coming up. And then you have Sugar and Spice. That is Yolanda and DJ Absolute. And then you'll have the other shows coming on. Good morning. Lovely day. It's now 10 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Spice up your life.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Assetto. Deputy President William Ruto has